to Vital back outside for a three by Butler.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Ground ball to Gleyber Torres, and that'll do it. A no-hitter for Corey Kluber on a Wednesday night in Texas. Kluber becomes part of forever.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
There's an old proverb that says all good things must come to an end, and it's true. All good things do. So I want you all to know that I will be leaving in September. Retirement is a word that I have tried to avoid for a long time. I've been waiting 25 years for the Cowboys to win another Super Bowl game, and I just can't wait anymore.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
4! I am the most popular player in all the land. Yahtzee!
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go on this Thursday afternoon. We'll update you on Baylor men's tennis in the quarterfinal round with TCU, and it is scratch and claw. They did win the doubles point. It was not easy, and right now there's some singles matches that are up for grabs as Baylor needs to come up with 3 of those 6 to advance to the semifinals. We'll have the scoreboard in front of you momentarily. We will hear today from a couple of broadcasters, completely different styles. One is Kenny Mayne, who's now leaving ESPN. They offered him a certain amount of money. It was like a 61% discount. Kenny has put some information out about he now is a free agent. He'll join us today. Kenny Mayne, who's unbelievably funny. We've had him on many, many times. He's also been a part of the Wounded Warrior amputee flag football game with Chris Visser at various Super Bowls. And then also, Dale Hansen, polarizing figure. He'll join us today at 4 o'clock. He announced earlier this week he's retiring after 50 years in the business. You either love him or you hate him. There is no in-between with Hansen. He'll join us today at 4. And in fact, some of you have told me you're not real thrilled about him being a part of the show. Well, I'm sorry. You could just not listen to that segment because I know him pretty well. And yes, he is a polarizing and sometimes he can be arrogant. He will join us today at 4 o'clock. Craig Smoak, Paul Catalina. I'm David Smoak. Emma's here. Jack McKenzie's running the mothership yet again today. We'll also hear from Mickey Spagnola today. But let's go to the scoreboard with men's tennis. Baylor came back to win the single point in tennis in doubles. There are 6 singles matches going on. Mateus Soto right now up a set and also up in the second set. Nick Stakoviak lost or is in he's actually come back to now lead the first set. That would be a huge point. He was down early in his particular match. Meanwhile, Boynton lost the first set, now tied in the second set. Law is up and looks like dominating his match. Could get a point right there, up 6-3, now 5-love. And then Charlie Broom is fighting with Perolik right now, down 3-2, has to come back to win that. Otherwise, TCU gets that point. And also, Spencer Furman was down, right, Jack? He's now up 6-5, and that looks like that thing's going to go. That's single 6. So Baylor's turned around a couple of those matches after what looked like when I walked in the door 15 minutes ago, Jack, it did not look good, that they were kind of in trouble. And that's going to all go down. You know that's going to go down to probably the last match or two.
Yeah, really big coming back and winning those tiebreakers.
Absolutely. So that's going on. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoak, your thoughts? Baylor, if they win, they go to the semifinals. They're the number 1 team in the country. They're supposed to win, but man, TCU, a rivalry. And, of course, we knew this would not be easy.
Well, I mean, you get somebody that you've seen before, so they know, everybody knows everybody. This was probably what's going to happen. You'd almost rather, at this point, play somebody you haven't seen because then there's no advantage. I mean, the advantage is kind of this. I guess it's the same. I mean, you're kind of starting blank as opposed to a team you've played. Now this is the 3rd time that they played them this year, so it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you play somebody multiple times, it's more difficult because it's not anything brand new. So, yeah, not surprised it's a tight matchup. And, we'll see what happens here.
Charlie Broom, by the way, in the doubles is the one that wrapped up the doubles point. You have 3 doubles matches. If you win 2 of them, you get a point, not 3. Or 2, you get 1. And he had a forehand winner when they were up 5-2 in the tiebreak in the deciding doubles match. And then it was 5-5, and they end up winning 7-5. Tonight, La Vega. They are the home of a lot of state champions, aren't they? Their boys track and field team will be honored tonight. The parade at Bellmead Drive at 6 o'clock, right down the corner from where we are. There will be an awards program and much more. The auditorium immediately after the parade. And it looks like, and I hope it means, the weather will hold off. And congratulations to the Pirates of La Vega ISD. They'll honor them tonight in a parade that starts at 6 o'clock. What are your thoughts about, I don't know if you guys discussed this or not, came down late last night, a report that Matt Campbell had been offered an 8-year, $68.5 million contract by the Lions to be their head coach.
Doesn't surprise me. I mean, the Lions had needed to start thinking outside the box. That's probably what led them eventually to Dan Campbell. Is the Lions' problem has been they kind of retread things over the years. They've been retreading, and they've been very stuck in neutral for a long time. So to maybe try to get Matt Campbell and get some new blood in there, Matt Campbell's a Midwesterner. You would think if he was going to jump to the NFL, that might be a job that attracts him. But I just get the feeling about Matt Campbell. He's not going to leave Iowa State until he feels like he's done all he can do there.
Would you guys want to go coach the Lions?
Not really.
Okay.
If I had my choices.
Let's not act like he turned down the Patriots or the Cowboys or the 49ers or pretty much any other team. Now, granted, he turned down an NFL team. But is he Matt Rule? Is the NFL his dream? I don't think that it is. I mean, at least I have seen no indication that he's I want to be in the NFL guy one day. So it's not a surprise that there are teams that have interest in him. It's also not a surprise that he has no interest in coaching the Detroit Lions because they suck. They haven't been relevant for well over a decade. They just traded away their best player. And I couldn't name 5 players on the Lions roster right now. I don't know about you guys. So, these coaches are smart. The ones that screw up are the ones that take the payday and go coach some bad franchise, and then they ruin their, reputation basically, or they just, they pull a Steve Spurrier, they make some money, they do nothing for a couple years, and then they go crawtailing back to college football. And I don't think Matt Campbell wants to be that guy. I don't think Matt Rule wants to be that guy. They want to be good at whatever they're doing. So if I'm going to make a jump to the NFL, I'm going to make sure that, one, the money's right, but if you're going to an NFL job, the money's going to be right. So that's automatic no matter what team you're going to. You're gonna have pay. So what else matters? Okay, do you want to go live in Detroit? Been there once, won't be there twice. I have no reason to ever go back to Detroit, Michigan, and no one really does, I don't think. So location matters, and Middle America, Iowa, you got it all set up there. You're a king amongst the common Iowa State fans out there. They treat you like you're God, and so I'd much rather be in Ames in that situation than in Detroit. And again, the team is not really anything to write home about, whereas at Iowa State, you're one of the favorites for the Big 12 this year. So I don't see the harm in him waiting another season and seeing if a better team rolls along.
His value gets higher, right?
Yeah.
His value will get higher as Iowa State has appeared to be really, really set for one hell of a team. Of course, we heard that last year, and they did play very well, but I can't wait to see how he – and there's certain guys, I agree. There are certain people, college coaches, that get caught up in the lure of that's the NFL. Like, that is more important. And we understand money-wise. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. But college football is getting to be that way as well. But we'll see what happens with that. That's a big out. That's $8 million a year. Is that right? Turn down?
And there's only a couple, as good as college football head coaches are getting paid, there's only a few jobs that are getting paid to keep you away from the NFL. Nick Saban gets paid enough to keep him away from the NFL.
And he's been there,
Jim Harbaugh gets paid enough to keep him away from the NFL.
At least for now.
Yeah. Lincoln Riley's getting paid well enough right now, at least for now, to keep him away from the NFL. At least to where that's not the reason. I think
at least right now with Matt Campbell. And I can understand what he's doing, and I agree. There are certain guys that doesn't mean it translates. Now, I think his style would fit. Now, we don't know exactly what his style is behind the scenes and how he coaches or his team other than what we see on Saturday afternoons, but he's done a remarkable job with Iowa State. The PGA Championship is underway. Victor Hovland, Keegan Bradley, Brooks Koepka, who none of us picked in our draft yesterday, are at the top of the leaderboard right now at 3 under par. There's a couple of other guys that are at 3 under par. Aaron Wise is also 3 under par as well.
Just you bring it up. Bring it up.
Bring what up?
The top two. Whose team are they?
I'm going through the leaderboard right now. Colin Morikawa, the defending champions, 2 under par. There's a couple of guys struggling, but it's early on for those who teed off. Jordan Spieth, he's on the course. DeChambeau, by the way, even. John Rahm is even on the front 9. Jordan Spieth, even on the front 9. And then there's a group of Jimmy Walker, Baylor's Jimmy Walker, +1. Schauffele, +1. Matsuyama, none of us picked him. He won the Masters, 1 over par. And then a couple of big names they're going to have to kind of come back and not play great tomorrow, but they need to play better. In Rory McIlroy at 3 over par. Leishman, 2 over par. And then there's a few others. I saw where Mickelson was struggling. He had like 3 or 4 bogeys in a row on the front 9. We'll see what he's doing as well. But we'll update that. John Daly, who won this a long time ago, still gets to play in it. Shot 85, 13 over, but he had a great time. Did you watch any of the NBA last night, the game between Golden State and the Lakers?
I saw the very end of it, yes.
You saw the last minute or two?
Yeah.
Craig?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it.
Listen, Golden State had the Lakers dead to rights, but then the Lakers, when they want to, can turn it on. The winner, of course, gets to stop. They're the 7 seed. The loser has to go play Memphis, in fact, tomorrow night to get in the tournament, to the NBA playoffs. And LeBron, with time running out, launches a 3 and drills it. It was a killer. It was a dagger. That's what you see Kobe do, or what LeBron or Jordan or others do. And even Curry's done that before, among others. But Durant, it was a great moment. And so the Lakers get the 7 seed, and now Memphis will play Golden State. I love watching Steph Curry, though. He's just fun. He's so smooth. But that's that. And the Pacers play the Wizards tonight to get into the Eastern Conference number 8 seed.
Yeah, it was an incredible play by LeBron. And, I was hoping the Warriors would close that one out. They didn't. So be it. So, big win by the Lakers. And we'll see how this, this playoff scenario shakes out the rest of the way. But the play-in games added some spice. So we'll see if the rest can hold up to kind of the way the things started out.
Yeah, by the way, you're right, Paul. You have Hovland and Keegan Bradley.
I do have Dustin Johnson, who's it was kind of in my mind, though, down to Dustin Johnson and Brooks Koepka when I made that pick. And Koepka's been hurt and Johnson hasn't, and that's why I picked Dustin Johnson.
By the way, thanks to Marco's Pizza delivering today. Jack McKenzie said, hey, can we order pizza later in the week? And so today I said, yeah, we'll take care of that. And Marco's Pizza, thanks to Bob Mock, talked to him yesterday. We'll hear a little bit more. They're looking for people for drivers. That'll have information on that and an incentive program as well for Marco's Pizzas. By the way, Law just won his match to give Baylor another point in that competition. All right, I think that's it for the most part. Anything else on the table that I have not brought up here in the first segment today?
Yeah, the Rangers got no hit last night.
There you go.
By a guy who pitched 1 inning for them, not less than 1 inning last year.
But the guy I talked about, it doesn't matter that they're facing him because he wasn't even really a Ranger, but in name only. I mean, he certainly wasn't a player for the Rangers, Corey Kluber. And I was talking about how Rougned Odor came back the other day, and it's like no one cares. It's not like when A-Rod came back or Teixeira or – I mean, there's like numbers of guys that have all come back and they get booed out of the building, or like Yu Darvish comes back and he gets cheered because people love, still love you. But Odor came back and it was pretty much indifference. And then Kluber, I mean, how could you have any feelings anyway, really? I mean, he was such a non-factor for the Rangers last year that, he comes out, and I don't think people really cared one way or the other, and then he goes out and no-hits you. So it was kind of like, if you did care, man, what salt in the wound that was. But Rangers have now been no-hit twice on the season, one of 3 teams to do that. I'll just go ahead and bury one of my notes that it's like the first time in baseball history that 3 teams have already been no-hit twice at this point in the season, and the Rangers are one of those teams.
Well, this is a note on the Rangers. Is this part of your off-the-radar 3-4?
Go ahead, yeah.
Is it?
No, go
okay.
ahead.
Since the ballpark opened, the new one, Globe Life Field, right? there has been a league division series win.
Yes.
An LCS championship win, a World Series championship, and 2 no-hitters, all achieved by other teams other than the Rangers in their home park.
Yeah, that's true, and that's a troll post, clearly, against Rangers fans. I'll say this, though, and it's a good one because that's all very accurate information. I'll say this, though, not much they could really do about the division, the league championship, or the World Series when those were just games being played by other teams at their stadium. Yeah. You know what I'm like? What are they? I mean, I get it. Like, yeah, the teams won before they did, but teams were also playing games they normally wouldn't play in the Rangers stadium. But no, it's a valid point, and they're at some point going to have to add some championships of their own. But the one that bugs me about that, like, again, the divisional series, the championship series, I mean, the World Series, all those are just played there.
Yeah.
But the 2 no-hitters, I mean, yeah, that's problematic. That's actually something that you go, damn, like, what's going on here that we've been no-hit twice at our place? But that is what it is. And so their former pitcher that did nothing for them, just walks into town and no-hits them last night. So
I have a friend.
How many are there now? How many no-hitters?
6 this year.
6.
I have a friend on Facebook, Kevin Kelly, who went to the game last night, and I saw this post, and he I need to find out what the real story is, but he posted this picture of walking in. He bought a Corey Kluber Ranger shirt, which I'm assuming, knowing him, was on the discount rack, and he thought it'd be funny knowing Kluber would pitch that night. And then sat and watched Kluber walk one guy essentially a hair's breadth away from a perfect game against the Rangers.
I don't even know why they were selling those still.
Probably just to get rid of them.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I'm surprised they're not in Haiti.
Yeah, like why would you even have those around? Yeah. Or why would any? I mean, that's amazing that somebody actually bought one and that you know that person, because I don't know who in their right mind would be buying those, except, to be funny. And hey, that worked out well for him because, yeah, sure enough, it turns out the guy with the name on the back ends up throwing a no-hitter. But, yeah, you're at 6 no-hitters so far in 2021, 2 each against the Rangers, Indians, and Mariners. First time in Major League Baseball history, 3 teams have been no-hit multiple times in the same year. So
that's amazing.
What nice company.
It's either you strike out or hit a home run. That's where they are when you want to get into all the things that they do. Everyone's being overpowered one way or the other.
I'll quote Bull Durham. Don't try to strike everybody out. Strikeouts are boring. Besides that, they're fascist. Hit some ground balls. They're more democratic.
254. Do you like today's baseball home run or a strikeout? 254-339-1122. Your thoughts about Baylor men's tennis. We're going to throw the scoreboard up here yet again in just a second. And then also, Mickey Spagnola at 3:30. Dale Hansen at 4 on retirement and his career of 50 years. Craig Smoak's off the radar at 4:45. And Kenny Mayne, formerly of ESPN, will join us today. Always been gracious to be a part of our show. He'll join us today at 5. And then, based on what Baylor does, if they can survive and move on and advance against TCU, we'll get a player on it sometime around 5:20 or so. Here's the scoreboard one more time. Jack McKenzie runs the mothership. Baylor won the doubles point. As I mentioned earlier today, Mateos Soto now down in the second set, but he did win the first set. Stakoviak, that was he was down, and he came back to win the first set 7-5. Furman was down, came back to win the first set and up in set 2.
Furman's won something like, I want to say 5 straight points or so.
Yeah, he's done well. Broom now 4-4 in the second set. If he could force a third set, that would help. And Law has already advanced. Is that correct? Yep. With a straight sets win against Fernley. And one more singles, Boynton, who lost the first set, trying to come back and force a third set against Alistair Gray.
I believe it's Boyton.
Boyton, okay. Remember there was a skater,
Brian
Boitano. All right, we'll also update the PGA Championship throughout, but right now, 254-339-1122, SicEm365 Radio.
If you're looking for a new home or trying to sell the one you're in, you need to call my good buddy Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team, brokered by eXp Realty, 254-214-3713. I actually spoke with Lance this morning, and in between doing real estate things, he was going to his daughter Maya's 5th grade promotion ceremony as they move on into, junior high next year. Maya's a sweetheart. Anyway, if you're looking for a family home, look, Lance has got, 2 kids that have already, moved on and out of the house. He's got 2 younger kids. So he knows the ever-changing life of a parent with a big family. So if you got a big family and you've got to upsize or downsize or morph what you're doing and you're trying to find that perfect home for your family, believe me, Lance, he's navigated all that stuff. He can help you figure that out. Plus, he's going to know things about you, like just after one conversation that you didn't think he'd probably pick up on and help you find that perfect house. That's the kind of listener that Lance Donaldson is. So just give him a call, 254-214-3713, or online at lancedonaldson.exprealty.com.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Samuels is celebrating Jeep Freedom Days. It's an exciting time for a new Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo with up to $3,750 in values or 0% for 72 months. The new Jeep Cherokee Laredo is built tough, and with the Jeep Freedom Days going on now, it's a great time for a new Jeep SUV. Alan Samuels, the award-winning customer service Central Texas dealer. The best place to get your next SUV. Located at 201 West Loop 340, Alan Samuels is your friend in the car business.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma. And they have to come here. They're used to lights. They're used to water in their mouth. They're used to experience. They already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Parenting is full of surprises.
You never know what to expect.
So after our son was born, I called my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent to set up a life insurance policy in case something happened to me.
Sawyer is now 2.
And we'll soon have a sister. There's no one else I would trust with protecting my family.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
All right, here we go. SicEm365 Radio. Dale Hansen at 4. Kenny Mayne at 5. Mickey in about less than that, about 5 or 6 minutes. This is something that, you're starting to see teams do this more and more. This is not Cowboys related, but it is. Washington last year, someone had to win the NFC East, and they did at a 7-8-1 record. Morgan Moses has started like 100 games with them. Never was anything special. really had to overcome being kind of just an overweight guy. But he's turned out to be fairly good for them, I believe, last year. He's 30, demanded a trade 2 days ago. Washington today said goodbye. They were not going to be held up. Huh?
Means I couldn't
find anybody, and he will be signed because he's a veteran offensive lineman. You could always use those. But they saved just over $7 million on the cap. I'm sure there's some peripheral something down the road that they got to pay. But, in this day and age, if you're going to demand something, you better. And maybe he knew he was not going to get any attention. And he's a free agent now. He's a veteran guy, 30. That's kind of on the edge, though, because those guys have to make pretty good money, even if he's picked up for spare money, right? Was it $1 million or so?
Yeah. So they were going to, the problem with him requesting a trade was they did him that courtesy of, see if there's one out there, but know this, the trading him or cutting him now or after June 1st or whenever they do it and designate it, it didn't make a hill of beans for their cap. It was all going to be the same. Yep. So letting him find a trade to a team he may have wanted to go to before they put him on waivers and somebody can claim that he may not want to go to. But, yeah, I would think that he's going to clear, that $7.5 million or whatever he's got, he's going to clear waivers and then he'll be able to go where. But
he's not going to make $7.75 million.
No.
They drafted Samuel Cosme, who I at times thought was probably a little overmodulated in what people said about him at Texas because he's an offensive lineman at Texas.
Let's be honest, he was overrated last year coming into the season. That's not sour grapes. That's just facts. He's a good player. I was surprised to see him, not end up a first-round pick, with the way that he was talked about initially, but not surprised when the actual draft rolled around. And as somebody who's grown up a Washington fan, I'm interested to see if he works out or not. That's obviously a very important position, and they felt good about Cosme. So was a little overrated coming out last year, but, maybe the Redskins got a good value with him there in the second round.
They also signed Charles Leno, who was released by someone else from Chicago. It started for them the last 5 years as well. Charlie Broom, by the way, lost his match. So he looked like he was going to try to force a third set. You want to put that up again yet, Jack? And we'll go to the calls as well. 254-339-1122. Baylor won the doubles point. Law won a singles point, so that gave him a 2-0 lead. But Charlie Broom has been beaten, and that hasn't happened much. So now 2-1. Soto is in a fight in set 2. Stakoviak again came back to win the first set, and Furman trying to help Baylor get a second or third points, up 7-5, 3-0 over Kruger. And then there's the one other match at the top, which includes Gray is now up in that. Well, this thing it's going to come down to probably maybe Stakoviak or Furman, right? That match. It sure would be nice to Baylor to get an extra. But that could have been dangerous with Charlie Broom getting beat because he's really, really good. And he's the one that helped win the doubles point with a forehand to win that third match in doubles.
1 second. We dropped our connection real quick, and then we'll get T-Rex.
254-339-1122 is the number to call. Emma is here today. Jack McKenzie is here. We actually saw Jack. We saw Armstrong, his face yesterday on Zoom. He was on that PGA Championship Zoom call.
Yeah, Jack watched that, and just daggers coming out of his eyes.
It looked to me like he had a fake background, like it was wherever he lives, and he was there was a sliver. Like in TV, they have that big green board for the weatherman in the background. But one of the things that I noticed is that I saw a little bit of a sliver that looked like a beach behind him.
Yeah.
That Armstrong Sims is somewhere on a beach and acting as if he's had some sort of health problem.
All right, real quick before we go to the break, let's go to T-Rex.
All right.
You're on SicEm365 Radio. Thanks for your call.
Hey, guys. I don't know if I've called in a while, so it's good to hear y'all again. I'm sure you could have done without my voice, but that's all right. Hey, man, this tennis team is fighting. We already played TCU 3 times this year. We beat them 2-1. I know tennis is like a whatever sport to most people. I never played the thing, but hey, we're fighting for a chance to go to the Final Four. We did pretty good in Final Fours this year so far. So, I think we got room in the trophy case. We already put 2 trophies in there this spring in Michael Woodson's first year. Why not, put a bigger one in there? I just got a ring, about a week ago. So why don't these guys get a ring? You know what I'm saying? So, hey, if anybody's trying to tune in, get online, get on your app, tuning in. And I don't know, my Saturday, I was supposed to go to the baseball game down in Waco, but we ended up playing for a natty. I might have to go to Orlando. I don't know about y'all. Maybe y'all should do a Saturday special from Orlando. I don't know if y'all that's in the budget, but maybe we can get a tennis sponsor for the show. Anyways, hey, it's a great weekend coming up. 100% capacity. I haven't called it in a while, so hey, things are looking up. Baylor's always winning, and man, these frog legs are tasting real good. We're up 2-1, man. Let's crank it up. Let's put some seasoning on those frog legs, and let's make it happen. Sic'em Bears, y'all keep doing what y'all always do. We appreciate y'all here in Baylor Nation.
It is good to hear from you, T-Rex, by the way. It was never a point where we didn't want to hear from you, and we're happy that you also had your fun week getting married and also headed to your trip. So welcome back to the show.
I'm glad he made it through without her changing her mind. I was kind of always worried about that. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I love T-Rex, but I was a little worried.
Yeah, congratulations, man. Happy for you, and good to hear from you.
There is one more. Let's go one more time, Jack, to the update on the board, and we'll come back with Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com, trying to give you as many updates as we can. Soto now in his match, up 6-4, 5-4, can close it out. That would be 3 points. Stakoviak down in the second set after winning the opening set. Gray now, 4-4 with, how do you say, Jack, again? Boitan. And then Law has already won. Broom has lost, and then there's a top singles match with Furman now up 3-0, second set after him coming back from being down like 5-3 in that singles number 6. They have to win 3 of those 6 to win the quarterfinals and move on to the semifinal down in Florida. Here's a text, by the way. Any update on Nikki Collins' staff? No, if we had it, we would tell you, but at least not now. What about Brock? What about Fuller? Any Baylor loyalty for those loyal to Baylor? I don't think Mackenzie is right now. She's about to deliver a bait anytime. Within the next few days. I played golf this past weekend with somebody who knows and said that's going to be kind of right now no, and it doesn't mean no in the future. She has the baby, and then maybe sometime in the fall she decides to either stay home mother or the possibility she joins her mother's staff. I don't think she's going to come back and coach at Baylor. And with Bill Brock, just nothing there right now other than I don't know if he's dangling in the wind, twisting in the wind. I don't know how that's going down. But there has been nothing since the Sophia Young-Malcolm news, which was on Friday or Monday. And then, of course, they hired who is the replacement for Johnny Derrick as well in Mata.
What I'm curious about is it seems like Nikki Collins might have one of the former assistants like Bill Brock or perhaps even Cydia Messer join. I know Kim apparently made a comment that like everybody but one person was going to be joining her. So I don't know who that one person is, but I would think, let's just say, for example, it's Bill Brock that Baylor may be potentially talking to. Why wouldn't Kim already hire Cydia Messer and that already be announced? Or are they waiting on, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like even no matter what Baylor's doing, there would still be traction with those other coaches if Baylor's not going to keep those other coaches. So I'm just surprised by how quiet it is, because if Cydia Messer doesn't think she's going to be at Baylor next year, then I'm surprised we haven't heard about, her landing in Baton Rouge or, Denton or wherever the heck it may be. So, yeah, it's been oddly quiet just all the way around, I feel like, with the Baylor staff.
All right, I agree. That does seem to be kind of in a neutral mode of nothing. Bill Brock is either going to coach at Baylor, I would believe, or retire. One of those two. And why it's taking so long? Well, Nikki Collins, it's her team. She's trying to put it together. It might be. I'm sure that might be. There's a reason for the madness. All right. By the way, Soto won, right?
Yes.
Soto won his match. So Baylor's one singles win away. Take a break here. Come back with Mickey. Dale Hansen at 4. Kenny Mayne at 5. Craig's off the radar at 4:45. SicEm365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, got great deals going on right now. But when do they not have great deals going on at Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac? They've got Memorial Day savings in store for you right now over on the lot. They're taking care of course, not only your wallet, but also the customer service side as well. And everything's sort of opening up right now. You know, laws are relaxing a little bit, and so travel's starting to pick up. Travel, you might even say, is back, and so are the savings at Richard Carr with the Memorial Day Savings event. You can get on the road right now with some sophistication and luxury provided by Buick, as Richard Carr is loaded with Buick SUVs, all priced to move. You save $5,900 on 2021 Buick Encores, $4,500 on Encore GXs, $3,900 on midsize Buick Envisions. They've also got the Buick Enclave, the perfect family travel vehicle with space, luxury, and affordability. It's got 3 rows of first-class seating plus a smooth, quiet ride. And right now, save $8,500 on all 2021 Buick Enclaves in stock. And Richard Carr is also loaded with premium pre-owned cars and trucks. All pre-owned cars and trucks are priced to move during the Memorial Day Savings event, with multiple cars priced under $200 a month for qualified buyers. And Richard Carr is your local Waco family dealer. They take pride in serving their neighbors, and they want to earn your business with great prices, free oil changes, and superior service after the sale. So drop by their clean and disinfected showroom and take a test drive, or let them bring the test drive to you. It's the Memorial Day Savings event going on all month at Richard Carr.
It's a name and a memory that called us back. It's a belief and a labor that will carry us forward. It's a time and experience that will make you return. The new Bear Ridge Golf Club, a space revitalized, a course restored, a new experience. For a tee time today, call the Pro Shop at 254-848-7800. Go to BearRidgeWaco.com, just south of Waco on Highway 84. Come join us at Bear Ridge Golf Club.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Prescott on the keeper, walks in, touchdown, Dallas.
It's time for our weekly segment with Mickey Spagnola of DallasCowboys.com. Brought to you by the First National Bank of Central Texas, with 5 locations to serve you.
All right, here we go, this 3 o'clock hour. We usually have Mickey at 4:30 on Thursdays, but with Dale Hansen at 4, we might not have gotten to Mickey at 4:30. Right, Mickey? Is that right? You know him as well as anybody. Am I right?
That bully, he would have knocked me right off the air.
Yeah. All right, so I just saw a note that Drew Pearson, I can't think of anyone else, is going to be presented in his Hall of Fame induction by Roger Staubach. Was there any other choice but Roger?
No, I wouldn't think so, especially since they paired up for the Hail Mary, and, Roger kind of brought him along when he came in as an undrafted rookie out of the University of Tulsa. So, yeah, that's a pretty natural, I would think, for Roger to present Drew for this summer's Hall of Fame induction.
Mickey, it's hard to tell things at rookie minicamp, I know, but did anything in particular stand out to you as far as guys who appear at least more ready to be pros?
Well, here were a couple of things that struck me when I looked at the 11 draft choices, 8 of them defensive. The guys kind of looked the part. Now, again, like you said, it's hard to tell in a mini camp when they just helmets, jerseys, shorts, and there's basically no contact. At least they did one 11-on-11 drill and one 7-on-7 drill. So you kind of got to look to how guys could move. But they looked the part. Micah Parsons looks like an NFL linebacker. Calvin Joseph moves like a potential NFL cornerback. When you look at Jabril Cox, the linebacker from LSU, you're sitting there going, just looking at him, it's like, how did this guy last to the 4th round? I got no idea. And even the 6th round pick, Quinton Bohanna, the nose tackle from Kentucky, I was expecting to see some sort of looking dump truck that can play in the middle. Well, this guy's 6'4", nearly 330, and he can move. He has agility. So that struck me right from the start, that at least these guys kind of look the part, that maybe they can play in this league. Same with Josh Ball, the offensive tackle. He's 6'8", 310, and looks like he could be an NFL offensive tackle. So, I was rather surprised by that. Now, again, chances are 11 draft choices aren't going to make your team. But if they can get like 7 of them on the 53-man roster and the rest on a practice squad if they clear waivers, I would think you would say that's a step in the right direction.
From that group, Mickey, it seems like Simi Fehoko has had some positive reviews out there for what little has been seen so far. Do you feel like he could be sort of the dark horse impact player of this draft class in a way?
I don't know impact, but I would think that, and he was another guy. He looks the part as a kind of a rather big wide receiver. But, he's going to give some guys trouble for the 4th and 5th spot in that wide receiver core if they only keep 5 guys. He's 6'4", 222, but he doesn't run like he's 222. And I thought he ran crisp routes, and most of all, he caught the ball. And it was a difficult couple days with the wind blowing the way it was out there, especially for the poor quarterbacks, but even for the wide receivers. So, yeah, keep an eye on him because I think he might turn some heads and maybe cause some problems for guys like Cedric Wilson or Brown, the guys that had been kind of considered the fourth and fifth wide receiver. And the other guy, he was listed as a corner, but they're moving him to safety. Israel Mukamu. He looks like he could be a pretty nice safety at 6'4", 212, and moves well. So again, they were doing all this against guys of their own ilk. They were doing it against some guys that aren't going to be here in the NFL, with 15 of the 31 guys participating undrafted rookie free agents. But yeah, I would keep an eye on Fehoko.
All right, so we know that Dak should be back. Everything's trending towards the fact he should be fine by the time the season, or even well before the season. But so right now you have Garrett Gilbert. They brought in a bunch of guys to try to find out who else. They have others, DiNucci. But Mickey, in the end, do you feel like the backup quarterback is somewhere else right now, or do you feel like Gilbert, that's his job?
That's funny, David. I swear you must have been reading my notes, because I started going through the league to see if teams that drafted quarterbacks, especially in the first round, might be releasing someone that you would say, maybe that guy could be the next Andy Dalton. But what I found is these teams the league doesn't have an excess of experienced quarterbacks that you could bring in and say, okay, that guy could get released and maybe he can be my veteran backup. Take Carolina, though they traded for Sam Darnold. The other two quarterbacks on their roster right now, Will Grier and Philip Walker. I don't think I ever heard of Philip Walker, and excuse me if I should have. If you look at in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow coming back, Brandon Allen, Kyle Shermer, and Eric Dungy. Now, the Jets, you would think, all right, they drafted quarterback right away. That guy's probably going to start, right? When he gets there. And I started looking at their list of backup quarterbacks, and it's James Morgan, Mike White. That might be a recognizable name, and then the guy they drafted, Zach Wilson, in Jacksonville after drafting Trevor Lawrence. And I'm thinking, okay, they're going to release somebody that might be pretty good. Jake Luton, C.J. Beathard, and Gardner Minshew. Now, I would imagine Minshew probably would have the lead at becoming the backup, but what C.J. Beathard do for you? And the one place that I don't know if there'll be a guy that you say, maybe we can get somebody from there. In Tampa Bay with Tom Brady, they just drafted in the second round Kyle Trask, and they had just signed Blaine Gabbert and Ryan Griffin to 1-year deals. And even in the only place that I could see that you would say, I might be able to improve my backup quarterback spot, is if the Chicago Bears, after drafting Justin Fields, they don't feel like they can keep both Nick Foles and Andy Dalton. And Foles, by the way, if they let him go, it's $14.3 million in dead money, and if they let Andy Dalton go, it's $5.5 million. So, can you bring in a rookie quarterback and keep both of those two guys under your salary cap? So, to me, you look at what the Cowboys have, and you see them kind of nibbling, right? They brought in Jeff Driscoll last week, and he just signed with Houston, right? And they're bringing in Brett Hundley, who failed miserably in Green Bay, but I guess they're going to take McCarthy knows about him. This was the guy that had to come in 2017 when Aaron Rodgers broke his collarbone, and they went 3-6 with him, and then traded him the next year. So, there's just not much out there. So, between Garrett Gilbert, Cooper Rush, and Ben DiNucci, you've got to say, okay, whoever I bring in has to have more experience than those guys. Because guess what? They total 2 starts between the 3 of them. So, again, I think you kind of lay low for a while and see what might turn up at some point. But nothing really, when I look at this, I'm sitting there going, where did all the quarterbacks go?
All right, Mickey, so here's who's available, and just to highlight this.
And the only reason I know who Philip Walker is because of Matt Rule.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, men's tennis, Baylor men's tennis has closed out TCU to head to the Final Four to take on third-ranked Tennessee sometime tomorrow. Okay.
All right, RG3, Matt Barkley, you mentioned Brett Hundley, Sean Mannion, Nick Mullins, and Jake Rudock.
Have any of those guys started games in the last couple of years?
No.
Not that I don't know.
If they have, it's not memorable.
Nick Mullins might have started one last year for San Francisco.
Right.
And
how long has it been since RG played in a game?
Well, he started last year for one game, didn't he?
Yeah,
he played
one game.
Yeah. But it didn't
See,
go
what
real
you're
well.
looking for, what you're looking for, or what you're hoping for, is a quarterback that has experience, and doesn't have to be greatly successful, but at least has experience in the league that, at the drop of a hat, if you got to go in without any practice, you can kind of know your way around. Unlike last year, after Dalton got hurt, Ben DiNucci goes in, a 7th-round rookie draft choice, who had no offseason on the field, had no preseason on the field games, and all of a sudden you're telling him, well, go in and let's win this game. Well, that's unreasonable. And basically, even though Garrett Gilbert had been around, kicking around, practice squads and everything, he was making his first NFL start with the Cowboys. So, it's just hard to find guys that have what you're looking for. I did notice that the Patriots have a bunch of guys, and maybe one of them come available. Because, they took Mac Jones. I don't know if he's going to be day one starter, but also on the teams, Cam Newton, Jarrett Stidham, and Brian Hoyer, who's 35 years old, but only signed a 1-year deal. So would any of those guys intrigue you more so than what you have? But then again, you're probably going to have to wait through training camp before you bring one of those guys in, if they get released.
Mickey, thank you very much. Real quick, we're going to have Hansen, as I mentioned, at 4. You know him. Many a time you guys have shared a beer or story together. Not always a group. In fact, we've been in the same place, you and I. We've had times we have not agreed, and it's been fun. Your thoughts about Dale retiring sometime in early September?
Dale's an all-timer. I mean, we go all the way back. And here's how people that don't know Dale probably have bad impressions of him. Just like me, when I first got to know him, when he started doing the Cowboys analyst, when I got here in 84, even 85, 86, it's like, who is this guy? And why does he love himself so much, right? Well, then I got to know him, and I understood. And we ended up being pretty good friends for quite some time. And it's good when you have a friend that always picks up the bill, right?
He's done plenty of tabs.
I can remember it in Thousand Oaks. We'd go to the same place every night after practice. I think it was called the Iron Horse, something like that. And Dale would pick up the tab. There'd be 5 or 6 of people there. And every time the bill would be like, and it came to be a running joke. No matter how many drinks you had or how many people, it was always like 76, 78 or something like that, right? And one day he was just going on and on and on, and the waitress came up and she goes, you other guys, you're pretty nice. But that big guy, he thinks he's God. And we had the biggest laugh ever, because if you didn't know Dale, you probably would think that's what he is, right? And then my other very good story was the day in training camp in Austin when he and Barry Switzer got into it on Channel 8. It was live Sunday night, and they were doing the interview, and Barry came loaded for bear because he thought that Dale Hansen was going to report that one of the guys on the team had mental problems or something. And so he was ready. And Dale asked him a question about his coaching staff, and Switzer answered it, but he punched him in the arm. And then every time Dale would say something, Switzer said something and punched him in the arm, right? Mm-hmm. And finally, Hansen goes, "Hey, that's starting to hurt, right?"
Yeah, yep.
And they started arguing. I was sitting underneath their camera watching this, and the next thing and they were starting to go at it on the air. And finally, Larry Lacewell, who had worked with Barry at Oklahoma and was the Cowboys in the scouting department, you could hear him on the air if you listen closely. He goes, "Hey, guys, that's enough." It got pretty tense. So I'll never forget that scene as long as I live.
Mickey, thank you very much. Great to have you on today. Mickey Spagnola with us, DallasCowboys.com. And again, normally at 4:30, but we didn't know if we would get to 4:30. And Dale Hansen announced his retirement earlier this week. 41 years, I think, in the Dallas and Fort Worth market. He has been an icon up there. And as I have said before, there are people, either you love him or you hate him. If you don't know him, maybe you should, and maybe you never will. It kind of, in a lot of ways, one of the guys that he would argue with the most, Jerry Jones, is very similar in that particular regard. But Hansen will join us at 4 o'clock. Craig?
Well, I can tell you, from the surface, I'd probably, be indifferent or maybe even lean towards not liking Dale Hansen because he can kind of have some of that arrogance about him. And me, that's like polar opposites for me. But having actually got to spend some time around him and know how charitable he is, not just picking up tabs, but just in general, people aren't exactly what you see on TV all the time. I'll just put it that way. And I definitely have a different impression of Dale Hansen than just having seen him on TV. So just don't, people are deeper than just the image you see.
Very intimidated to meet him the first time at Cowboys training camp that Smokey introduced me to him. And I thought, oh my God, this guy. I mean, all I can think of, this guy's got an ego and all that. And he was nothing but nice and friendly and, talkative and didn't treat me like some young kid he treated me like an equal. And I thought, okay, well, that's all you really want, yeah. Right? I mean, he didn't treat he might have done that to some people, or it might have come off that way, like I'm Dale Hansen, get out of my way. But I never got that from him.
No, he's confident.
He can be intimidating, he can be cocky, but he can also be a lot sweeter and a lot more personable than you would probably think he would be if you just went based off what you see on TV. And he's a very nice dude. And Baylor men's tennis is going to the Final Four, y'all.
Yeah, they are. They win 4-1 in the end, and that was not a 4-1 easy, but it was 4-1, and a couple of guys turned it around. Furman was the one that won his match that sends Baylor into the semifinals against number 3 Tennessee. Coming up next, Dale Hansen on 41 years in Dallas and Fort Worth, 50 years in the business and retirement. And why now? SicEm365 Radio. Don's Humidor and Coffee Beans. I was there the other day. I told you that. And I was in there and met with Carol and Ashley and Cheyenne. Cheyenne was pouring or getting a bunch of fresh coffee beans. Was being grinded. It was the cowboy flavor. I don't drink coffee, but I was told it's an incredibly popular type of flavor and aroma as well. And then, of course, they have the 48-foot walk-in humidor with Macanudo, Ashton, Romeo and Julieta, Rocky Patel, Padron, Cohiba. Yep, they got those as well. The Elite, all around the world, best cigars inside their 48-foot walk-in humidor. One of the ones that I like a Rocky Patel Torpedo Edge Light. That's the one my older brother Robert smokes quite a bit. But I do like that one. But I also like the La Fontana. It's a Churchill-length cigar, but not quite as thick as some of the other cigars that you might see, and is very smooth. And then on top of that, they have CBD. And in fact, if you struggle at night falling asleep, if it's just something that just keeps you up, Your mind is always racing, and you just need a little bit of maybe a way to calm down. CBD Vita Dreams will allow you to fall asleep and get those extra 30 to 45 minutes instead of tossing and turning. Don Humidor with Cheyenne, with Carol and Ashley, and tell them Smokey sent you in the Town West Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. In a long-distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
Pay over qualified buyer with $4,000 down to 2.9% TTNL extra. See deal for detail.
Travel is back, and so are the savings of the Memorial Day Savings Event at Richard Carr. Save $5,900 on 2021 Buick Encore. Drive off in the affordable luxury of a Buick Encore for as little as $258 a month. Or vacation in the spacious comfort of a 3-row Buick Enclave and save $8,500. 100% credit approval is always our goal. It's the Memorial Day Savings Event going on now at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
There's an old proverb that says all good things must come to an end, and it's true. All good things do. So I want you all to know that I will be leaving in September. Retirement is a word that I have tried to avoid for a long time. I've been waiting 25 years for the Cowboys to win another Super Bowl game, and I just can't wait anymore.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
I've known Dale Hansen for quite some time, back in the early 80s, and eventually really got to know him in the late 1988 when I did a story about a young boy from Marshall, Jamie, who had leukemia and died soon after Marshall lost to Dallas Carter that controversial year. And Dale ran the story on Sunday Special, which is as good a Sunday show that has ever been produced, directed, anchored, or whoever else in all of television around the country. And Dale Hansen joins us now. He's announced his retirement after 50 years. 50 years, and you were fired back in early on in Iowa, weren't you? No, you were fired. How many times were you fired, Dale?
Oh, my goodness. Counting the pre-broadcasting jobs, I've had 11 what I consider full-time jobs. I've had 11 full-time jobs, and I've been fired from 8 of them. And I was fired in Knoxville, Iowa. Then I went to St. Cloud, Minnesota. I was fired. I went to Coil Radio in Omaha. I was fired. I went to KMTV in Omaha, Nebraska. I was fired. I came to KDFW in Dallas. I was fired. And then I've been at WFAA ever since. I guess it took me a little while to grow up, maybe. I don't know. But I didn't think I'd finish out my run at Channel 8, quite honestly.
50 years. I don't even know where to start, but
I don't know where to finish.
Well, let me ask you this. Obviously, you have never been afraid of having an opinion about something. You've never been afraid to write things that matter to you in your heart or your soul. Are you misunderstood in any way?
Well, I think so. I think so in many ways. I think the people who know me best know that I don't quite match up to the image that a lot of people have of me. Although, as I do say, most people say I'm this arrogant, egotistical jerk, and I don't think I am. And maybe the reason I don't think I am is because I'm so arrogant and egotistical. I don't know that I am. But I think there's a softer side to me, and I'm pretty sure you certainly would agree with this. But I think there is a softer side to me. There's a more generous side of me, a more compassionate side of me than some people I think have taken from my positions that I take on sports. I'm an equal opportunity offender. I even got a couple of emails just yesterday saying it's about time we got your racist butt off the air. And I still have people calling me a racist, and apparently it started years ago because I dared criticize the black athlete. And as I said then, and I stand by it, I'm an equal opportunity offender. I do try as best I can to describe what I see and what I believe, and every so often I criticize somebody that somebody thinks I shouldn't, and I don't shy away from that. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is I know who I am. I know. I think what happens is a lot of people think that I am this arrogant, egotistical jerk, primarily because I'm very comfortable in my skin. I have mirrors in my house. I know how much skin I have. I know how bad I look, but I decided a long time ago that, I really am one of the luckiest guys walking the earth. I accept it. I enjoy my life. I love my life. And I think, unfortunately, that somehow rubs a lot of people the wrong way.
Dale, if I had told you 50 years ago that one day you were probably going to have to sit in a meeting and answer a lot of questions that people had criticized you on Twitter, or that the most popular, more highly funded sports show nationally was two dudes yelling at each other across a desk, what would you have said then compared to where the business has gone now?
Well, I certainly wouldn't have known about Twitter. I hope you can still hear me. Somebody just knocked at the door, and my dog's going nuts here. But no, the business has changed a great deal, and I think that's one of the reasons that I decided that it's time for me to retire. But I'm not into Twitter. I don't like Facebook. I don't even enjoy doing things digitally. Although it's that digital internet system, or whatever you call it, that basically kind of took me to another level a few years ago. When my work did start showing up on YouTube and Reddit and all these different platforms. But I don't enjoy that. I'm still old school. I like the 10 o'clock sportscast. I like a camera in front of me. I like having anchors around me. And I just never bought into to Twitter and Facebook and all these other things. And I think that's unfair to the station. I think it's unfair to the station. I think it's unfair to the people around me. And quite honestly, I think it's unfair to me. I've told people several times that I think if I was 35 right now, I think I'd own Twitter. I think I would embrace it. I think I would figure it out. I think I would be all over Facebook, whatever, all that kind of stuff. But at this point in my life, no, I'm not interested. And 50 years ago, I would have never imagined that we would fill up most of our days, like you say, with two guys across a desk hollering at one another, spouting, which I don't believe they believe, arguments most of the time. That's what really offends me. I think we have too many people, especially in sports, but I think it's true news and everything. We have too many people who go for, what do they call it, the clicks or the bait or the, and they don't believe some of this stuff. But I know for a fact that some of them don't believe some of the stuff they say. And that, they make a nice check for doing it. I get that. I don't think I would ever allow myself to be that person. And I don't think I've ever been that person. But yeah, in that regard, the business drives me absolutely nuts. It really does.
Dale, what do you remember of hearing about or seeing Jamie's season, the story from Smokey for the very first time, and just your first interactions with Smokey all that time ago?
Well, I'm glad you brought me back to that, because I wanted to say it when you were talking about it in setting up the interview here. That's still, to this day, one of the most powerful and best stories that we've ever run. My favorite part of that is David calls me and says, I've got this story that I think you'd like, and I think it would be even better if I could get the exposure of it, on your station. And then he tells me it's like 5.5 minutes long. And in those days, I mean, that's just, well, even today, that's a crazy amount of time, for any one story. So I'm sitting there and said, well, David, I'll take a look at it, but I said, I'll probably have to edit it down a little bit. And they said, no, I trust you. Whatever you think you need to do. And then I'm thinking, I mean, this is going to sound harsh, but David knows me well. I'm thinking, okay, this is something that he did in Tyler. Yeah, we'll clean that up. We'll fix it up. We'll make it next. There's only been two pieces. Now, I've only been doing this for 50 years. There's only been two pieces that I've ever had presented to me that I did not change, that I did not want to change, that I did not have at least some suggestion of how I could make it better. There's only been two. One of them was Thank God for Kids that David Handler and Lee Gonzalez put together. And I came in the next day when they had finished it up, and they said, you can change whatever you want. And I'm feeling horrible because I know I'm going to have to change something. That's just who I am. And they ran Thank God for Kids, and I said, that's perfect, and I've never touched it since. David sends me the Jamie story, and I'll never forget this. We're in the Channel 8 offices, and Jerry Orr was sitting there, and I said, look at this. And I told him, I said, it's 5.5 minutes long. Give me your thoughts on it, and then we'll figure out how to fix it. Orr starts crying. Now, I cry when Grandpa gets sick on the Waltons. So I cried at the Judd's farewell concert. So for me to tear up, that's not the biggest standard. Orr turns around and he's got tears running down his cheeks, and he looks at me and he said, "I think it's perfect." And I said, "I know it's perfect." And I said, "I can't believe it. I can't believe it." And it wasn't a reflection on David as much as it was on the fact that, well, I fix everything. I have to have my fingerprints on everything. And that incredible story is one of only two things in my life that had presented to me. And I just looked at it and said, there's nothing that needs to be changed or fixed on that. It's still one of the most remarkable stories I ever had the honor and the pleasure of introducing on any show that I've ever done. And then David goes to Austin and picks up all the awards for that. And we're sitting at a bar. We're sitting at a bar in Austin. I said, I think it was my introduction that saved it for you.
How about the day I called you? You're going to run it, and I called you and told you that Jamie had passed away.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my gosh, yeah. I mean, and, yeah. So, yeah, it was, oh, man, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Yeah, I'm going to run this great story. And then I get the call. Oh, by the way, I thought you wanted to know, you needed to know, he died. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I came out after the story. We ran the story, and then I came out at the end, and I said, Jamie died this morning. And I mean, the phone calls and the letters. This is what's funny to me. And I think I've told Smokey this. I'm sure I have. If not, he can hear it now for the first time. But the number of letters, we didn't even have like Twitter and stuff back then, but the number of letters and calls that I got, like, oh my gosh, Dale, you're the greatest. You're the greatest, Dale. What a great story, Dale. That's why I watch you, Dale. And I'm like, well, yeah, I was on for like 12 seconds,
Yeah.
And it was Ted Madden, and, Ted Madden did stories like that. Jerry Orr did great stories. Tony Martinez, one of the most gifted writers I've ever known in my life. And they would always get like, what the heck? And I would forward them, the letters or the emails or whatever. And they're like, oh man, Dale, that story you did last night was unbelievable. And I'm like, I'd forward it to Ted Madden, and he goes, why are they writing you? Why are they saying, I said, well, that's the advantage of being the big fat-faced anchor sitting there. I get, but it is a double-edged sword, and I believe this. I get and have gotten a great deal of credit for stories and a broadcast that I really didn't deserve. I mean, I didn't play that big a role in that. I really didn't. At the same time, I also get a great deal of criticism and a great deal of blame for some of the stories that I really didn't have a big part in. That it wasn't my decision. It wasn't necessarily how I would have done something or whatever. That I figured out, though, fortunately, a long time ago, that it does cut both ways, and it just comes with the territory. But that story will always live with me. At least as long as I'm able to remember anything at all, yeah. I will remember Jamie. I promise you I will.
Thank you, Craig, for bringing it up, and Dale, always for what you've told me. So you come back after this long delay of doing the show forever at your house in Waxahachie. Why did they sit you on a cocktail table that looks about the size of a leg?
Excuse me. I think they wanted me to feel as comfortable as I possibly could. And they know having me next to a bar table would probably be my most appropriate position. No, it is a bit of a contradiction, I think, and a lot of us think. But we're all trying to figure this out. I mean, everybody from the president of the United States on down is trying to figure out the pandemic and the COVID protocols and the like. And they wanted me back in the studio so that we could have some human contact and exchanges. But then they decided that they wanted to keep us separated. And I thought it was kind of funny myself. I don't know if you saw the first night I did. I said, wait a minute, what is this? You're all standing behind these really fancy glass and wood framed and chrome desk, and I get a cocktail table, and incidentally, it's a wobbly cocktail table. And but no, I actually kind of like it over there. I think I can get a wider shot that thins me out just a little bit. When I'm standing by the set, I look like I'm 6'10" and I weigh about 400 pounds. And well, I weigh about 400 pounds, but I'm not 6'10". So no, I'm fine with it. But again, it's just trying to practice some safety protocols and to make sure that we do kind of remind the audience that the pandemic's over. Dale's back in the studio, but it's not completely over, and we still have to exercise some caution. And so I stand by the glass, by the cocktail table, as you point out.
Dale, do you think that the days of, especially in a market the size of Dallas, of somebody having your job or even like Pete Delkus, a job like that, as long as they do, are waning because of the way that it works? That like you're not going to know your weatherman or your sports guy or your anchor for 25 years anymore?
Oh, no, I think you're going to know Pete Delkus for 25 to 35 years. I really do. And no, and I don't mean this again as arrogant as it sounds, but there's not a lot of people who have done sports in any market for 35, 40 years, ever. I mean, that's not really the way this business usually works. it is changing, but I still think, certainly in Dallas, I think there'll always be a need, for a sportscaster. I think the weather guys are becoming increasingly more important as the weather changes and becomes more severe. And I do think there'll always be a 10 o'clock newscast. It may start to present itself in a different form. It may start to become a little bit more digitally presented. And, whether it's actually appointment television at 10 o'clock straight up, there might be some change to that in the future, but not in the near future. I got an email from a friend just this morning, as a matter of fact, that I forget what exactly was, but said the D.C. station, I found this kind of hard to believe, but said that the D.C. station doesn't have a sports anchor anymore. They read a couple of stories. Their news anchors will cover the so-called big stories, and then they have like a sports reporter who might do a story, but they don't have a guy or a gal. They don't have a main anchor who is doing a 3-4 minute segment on local sports. And a lot of stations around the country have started doing that. I don't know if they've gone back to it, but years ago, this was several years ago, the station I used to work at, KNTV in Omaha, they dropped their sports anchor. And I'm thinking, KNTV in Omaha with the Huskers?
Yeah.
They don't have a sports anchor, but they just kind of absorbed it into the newscast. And they let the anchors read the occasional story, and then they might have a person who is somewhat designated as a sports reporter, and they kind of plug in some stories. I could see it maybe going that way someday, but I think the Dallas market in particular is so strong with the Cowboys and the Mavericks and the Rangers and the Stars, the interest in college and high schools, obviously. I don't see how they ever do that without a fully staffed sports department headed by a main sports anchor, and I think it will be that way for quite a while.
The guys the personalities, owners, players that you've covered over the years, especially in the Dallas market, is it Jerry or is it Switzer? Could it be Cuban? Who do you feel like that engaged your opinion the most?
Wow. Probably Jerry. Depending on how you want to define, my opinion, I butted heads with all of them. I hated Switzer, quite obviously. I just thought he was an idiot, and I think I was proven right on that. What was really funny about the Switzer argument was I loved him when he was at Oklahoma. He was so media friendly. It was actually amazing. I went up there to do a Texas OU preview one time. And what was the kid? Marcus Dupree was their great running back, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm standing on the sideline, and he looks over at me, and he goes, "Hey, Hansen." I don't know why he knew me. This was years ago, but he said, "Hey, Hansen, you got everything you need." I said, "Well, actually, I didn't get Marcus Dupree because we were running around with it was just me and my buddy Lee Gonzalez." And I said, "We weren't able to get Marcus Dupree, but other than that, we're good." He goes, "No, hold on." He goes, "Marcus, come out." And he took Marcus off the practice field. Took him off the practice field in the middle of practice and says, "Here, go talk to Hansen." Who does that? Then, and this is typical Switzer, he has Lee Gonzalez, my cameraman, playing middle linebacker. And he had done this bit. He did this bit in Nebraska when they were getting ready to play, or when Oklahoma and Nebraska were getting ready to play. And I had seen this bit, so I asked him to do it, and he did. We put our camera at middle linebacker, and we ran all the plays. And then Switzer looks up into the camera, and he goes, "Hey, Fred," Fred Akers. He goes, "Hey, Fred, I've got Marcus Dupree running around the left end. I've got Marcus Dupree running around the right end. Sometimes I'm going to run him up the middle. Do you have anybody down there in Austin who can catch him?" And it was staggering. The Texas fans went nuts. So when Switzer comes to Dallas to coach the Cowboys, Troy Aikman says to me, "Hansen, you're going to love this guy. He's crazy." And I said, No, I know Switzer. I said, "He's fantastic with the media. I'm fine with this. I hated seeing Jimmy go, but I said, no, this is great." And then he just turned out to be the biggest jerk in the world, And That was the end of it. But I mean, from a heated, I can't stand the individual. Obviously, it was Barry Switzer. Cuban, we just kind of butted heads a few times, and he sent me a very nice email the other day, and I like Cuban. I respect him. And people, I think you know this, Smokey. I like Jerry Jones. I just hate the fact that he thinks he's a general manager. I get a kick out of the guy, and I do respect the fact that no matter what I say about him, he keeps coming back for more. And I love that. I mean, I respect the heck out of anybody who does that. I've never seen a guy in such a powerful position who takes the shots and the arrows that he does. And you know this. He'll come right up to you and, you want me on your show tonight? What do you need? I'll be there. And they're like, how does he do that? Why does he do that? And I respect that. Now, I mean, I think he does it because he loves it, quite frankly. And I know for a fact that behind closed doors, he cusses my name and says a lot of really nasty things, you know. But I like the guy. So depending on how you want to frame the question, I think Jerry Jones drives me as much, and I have more fun, and I love bagging on Jerry and interviewing Jerry and talking about Jerry. Cuban, I've actually, I think, started to develop a pretty good relationship. And Switzer's still an idiot. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. It didn't surprise me the way you ended up with it either. Dale Hansen retiring in September, 50 years in radio broadcasting, 41 years in the Dallas and Fort Worth market. Paul?
When you stopped doing Cowboys games, when that all kind of went down, did you think that you and Jerry would ever have a functional relationship again, given that you know, you had been working for his team, and then in a regard, and then you had crossed some sort of line with him in his mind?
Yeah, no, that again, I think that's kind of where my relationship with Jerry really did actually grow in that regard. People for years said that all my criticism of Jerry Jones was because of the fact that I was no longer doing and being paid to do the Cowboys radio broadcast. It was just stupid, and I think Jerry knew that as well. I hated dealing with that nonsense for quite a few years, but you know, as I kept saying, I said my criticism of Jerry and the Cowboys is because they don't win anymore. I said, where was my criticism of the Cowboys in 1991, 92, 93, 94, 95? I didn't criticize the Cowboys then. I just didn't, because there was nothing to criticize. But the fact that I'm off the radio broadcast and I'm really blowing up this football team on a pretty regular basis from 97, 98 into those lousy 2000 years with Dave Campo and all the rest of it. And yet Jerry would always pick up the phone when I called. Jerry would always answer, the call that when I needed him on my show or Sunday nights or whatever. And we even had the occasional beer together in Wichita Falls in the early 2000s. That's about what I expected it to be. It went a little more downhill after that, and I hated that. But for the most part, when Jerry sees me, he says hello. I say hello to him. I fully expect that if we go to California for a final trip or whatever we do, I expect him to do another interview with me. I'd be surprised if he didn't. But no, I think the relationship is about what I thought it would be when I left the broadcast. It's not as friendly. It's not as open. It's not, it's not nearly as cordial, all of those good terms. But it is exactly what I thought it would be. And I think, quite honestly, probably what it should be.
Have you ever regretted an unplugged commentary or editorial? And is there one that you wish you would have done?
Oh, there's a bunch of them I wish I would have done. No, I've never regretted. I've regretted a great number of things that I've said on the air over, my 41 years in Dallas. But no, I've never regretted a commentary because, believe it or not, I do think about them before I go on the air. I mean, I read them to a lot of people. Joe Trahan was talking about this the other night. I mean, before I do a commentary, if I have any questions about it, I run it through a lot of people for their input. I'm not looking for their approval. I'm not looking for them to agree with me. But I sometimes will have a line or something that I go, is this okay? Does that make sense to you? But no, I've never done a commentary on the air that I regretted or that I felt bad about in any fashion, because fortunately or unfortunately, I only write what I believe. But this is what always kind of annoys me as well. I haven't gotten this for several years, but I used to hear a lot. We know you don't believe that, but that liberal Channel 8 management, they wanted you to say that. We know you didn't have any choice. And I'm like, really? I mean, that's what you really think? I mean, no, I said, I'm not Skip Bayless here. I only write it if I believe it. Yeah. I mean, that's the bottom line. And I, which probably scares some people, but I've never written anything that I feel like I should apologize for in a commentary, in an unplugged commentary, because those are so incredibly important to me. That's what's been driving me for about 8-9 years, quite honestly. That's where my real passion for the business comes from, is writing the commentaries. And as far as anything that I haven't written, no. I did write a piece a while back, about the voting rights changes that are being made in so many states around the country. And it didn't get on the air for a lot of different reasons. I'm doing this Davey Blast show, and I kind of wish I'd have done that one. I wish I'd have pushed a little harder to do that one, but not any major regrets about it. It's just it's kind of the nature of the beast, and but that'd be about the only thing I could think about, because unfortunately, in the minds of a lot of people, David, I've kind of written about a lot of stuff, and there's more people out there that wish I would shut up about some of my commentaries than for me to do more, and so I'm pretty happy with the body of work at the end of the day. I really am.
Which of these two? One launched you into another stratosphere, the SMU story, but what about the commentary that landed you on Ellen and her show? Which of those two was a bigger rocket booster?
Oh, I think Michael Sam, without question, the Michael Sam commentary. The SMU story, I think the SMU story put me into a different level in the way people perceived me, and I changed. In my so-called farewell address, I do talk about this, is that my life changed. People forget this, but I was a cheerleader. When I came to Dallas in 1980, and certainly when I started in Omaha, Nebraska in 1977, I was a cheerleader for the Huskers. I mean, there wasn't anything really to criticize on the one hand in those days. But I mean, I went to the games, Smokey, with, the white sweater, the red pants. I had the little hat with a feather on the side. The first game I ever went to, the great Danny Livingston said to me, did you just leave the polka contest? And I'm like, I said, no, but I was bowling all night. This is, and even when the Huskers they played Houston in the Cotton Bowl in 1980, I had red pants on, white sweater. I'm cheering on the sideline. And then I pretty much did the same thing when I came to cover the Cowboys in 1980. I remember I was insane. I'm very embarrassed to talk about this now, but I think it's kind of the maturation of me as an individual and as a reporter. I'm in St. Louis, and in the press box, and Tony Dorsett scores a touchdown on a great run late in the game to win the game, and I'm cheering like hell. I'm jumping up and down like, oh my goodness! This guy looks at me and goes, "Hey, buddy, are you a journalist or are you a cheerleader or a fan?" And I said, yes, I am. I'm here to cover the game, but I'm a fan.
I was for
several years. I was a fan. I wore my cowboy hats, and I'm making bets with other sportscasters around the country. And, oh, you can't beat the Cowboys. Oh, you're never going to beat the Cowboys. And then the SMU story, quite frankly, changed all of that. It changed everything I believed about college athletics and athletics in general. And then I started looking at all sports with more of a jaundiced eye, because, that was also, if you remember, right during the height of Dallas Carter being suspended from the playoffs, and and all the cheating in Texas with no pass, no play, and all of that. And it changed me, but there wasn't social media. They did a feature story on us in Sports Illustrated. It had our picture in Sports Illustrated, and I did get a very nice award, and I'll never forget this moment. I get the DuPont Columbia Award in New York City, and the great Bill Moyers introduces me, and this banquet was being carried live on PBS. And I'll never forget, Bill Moyers says to this room full of award-winning journalists, if you're not from Texas, you have no appreciation for what this man and this station did. And it just gave me chills. And I walked up to accept the award, and Ted Koppel is sitting there applauding, and Tom Brokaw is sitting there applauding. And Bill Moyers, I got a picture on my wall in my office here at home. Bill Moyers is shaking my hand. But even then, it was like, yeah, okay, you're the guy that did the SMU story. Here comes Michael Sam in 2014, and now I'm on the Ellen Show. Now I'm being interviewed by the New York Times. I'm being interviewed by the Washington Post. I'm being interviewed on almost every radio station in America. I'm being interviewed on CNN. Nightline had me on. It just, because of social media, I will be, to me, the defining moment of taking me to a level that I never ever dreamed possible in my life. It just, that's who I want to be remembered as. If somebody walks by and says, hey, they see a marker in the ground or some nonsense, and did you ever see what that man did about human rights? Did you ever see what that man said about civil rights, domestic violence, gay rights in America? Did you ever hear that man talk about that? You know where he was? Because I absolutely believe I'm on the right side of history. And that's how I want and hope people remember me, if they remember me at all.
Dale, you have time for 2 or 3 more questions?
I've got all the time you want. I'm basically retired.
Yeah, okay. Paul?
It's interesting you mentioned the SMU story making you look at sports with a jaundiced eye. I'm always curious to hear that from people. When we covered the Baylor story here, I was covering the Sam Ukuwachu, the rape trial, and that, like, walking out of that on the last day, I mean, I've never looked at things the same way again. And I wonder, for you, what was the key to kind of also, because it took me a little bit to get my enjoyment back of watching sports and not going, well, there's something crappy going on here. What was the key for you to coming back on that and wrapping your arms around enjoying it too?
Well, I don't enjoy it the way I used to. I mean, I never have enjoyed it the same way. But it enabled me, I think, to be a much better reporter. I think it enabled me to be a more critical eye, which I understand some fans don't like. I get that. But I really do believe that I have an obligation to tell you how bad the Cowboys really are when they're bad. I have an obligation to tell you how bad the Rangers are when they're really bad. I don't cheer the teams like I used to. And I think that's healthy. I think it's a good thing. But I don't sit down. The lovely Mrs. Hansen cheers like crazy for the Cowboys. She just loves the Dallas Cowboys. And when they lose, I'm walking out the door, and she'll say, now, don't be too hard on them tonight. Don't be too hard on them. And she goes, because I know you enjoy this. I said, well, I don't really enjoy that either, but I do know it's a better story. I mean, when you could kind of point out how Jerry Jones wanted to draft Johnny Manziel, that's a good story that I'm never going to let go. I mean, that's such a good story. But no, in answer to your bottom line question, I don't know how you can find that same enjoyment. I was talking about this just the other day with a friend of mine, and I said, I think this is true at every level of our business. And I think, and by that I mean like in news. I think I've talked to a lot of news reporters over the years who have, I thought, boy, this is great. I'm going to cover the news and I'm going to bring it to the community. And then they really get into the inside of politics. They get into the inside of what is taking place in our country, what is happening in some police departments. And then they find out, wow, there's a lot of really bad stuff going on here. Now, there's a certain satisfaction of exposing that, but I think for the most part, I didn't enjoy exposing the cheating at SMU. I didn't enjoy talking about the issues going on at Baylor. I mean, I loved Art Briles. I had Art Briles on my show. I think he's a fantastic football coach. I used to like Dave Bliss, for goodness sakes. But I think because of SMU, I embraced it when I was being pushed to report on Dave Bliss, to report on Art Briles, to report on whatever the issue might be. But I don't have the same pure, unadulterated fan reaction that I used to have back in the day covering Nebraska. And I'm hoping, quite honestly, in retirement, maybe I'll get some of that back. But I sit at home watching the Rangers games. I sit at home watching a Mavericks game or a Cowboys game or whatever, knowing that I've got to go to the office and break it down from a reporter perspective. And then that kind of takes a lot of the fun out of it. It's fun to report on it. I love that red light popping on, but sometimes I would just like to scream and holler and yell and cuss and laugh just watching the game. And I haven't done that I haven't been able to do that for 30 years.
You say you like that red light coming on, which anyone in television knows what that means, and even in radio we know when we're on. Do you feel like you hear about athletes, Dale, saying that they miss the roar of the crowd, the camaraderie in the locker room? Is that something you've thought about?
Oh, yeah. That because this is that red light again, which is, again, the light above the camera that tells you, hey, you're on right now, if they don't understand. There cannot be a better drug on the streets. There can't be a better shot that you could get from a doctor to make you feel better than how I feel when that red light comes on. The flip side of that is, David, and I don't know if you ever find this or not, even when I was doing radio for a while, and I was only doing an hour. I don't know how you guys do 3-4 hours at a time, but I was doing an hour on radio, and there's the same response. Once they point at me and say you're on, man, I'm ready. I'm on. But I hate everything that surrounds it, and this is kind of what I feel in television right now. I don't want to walk upstairs and try to figure out how to jam this information into that 3-minute window I've got. Mm-hmm. Oh, I got to write something for the morning show. Oh my gosh. Now I got to drive up 35 after shaving, and I'm sick and tired of shaving. And 35 it looks like some of the missiles headed to Israel ended up in DeSoto, for goodness sake. So somebody blew up 35, and you can't hardly drive to and from to Dallas anymore. And I just hate all of it. I mean, I hate all of it. And then that light comes on.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah. And then I drive home and I go, okay, we're not doing that much longer.
Yep.
And I've had, unfortunately, that feeling, and I said this the other day as well. That's not fair to WFAA. That's not fair to the rest of the guys in my department. And quite honestly, I don't think it's fair to me. And the best, purest example of this, and I know, David, you can understand me on this. I was the guy that used to go to Cowboys training camp for the entire 6 weeks.
Yep.
I was there the entire 6 weeks. I covered every practice. I did interviews. I wrote many of my own stories. We did a 20-minute show every night of the week except Saturdays. Monday through Friday plus Sunday, we did a 20-minute special on that day's practice. And I loved it. I didn't like it. I loved it. And about the last 3, 4, 5 years, Sean Hamilton, our sports director, would come to me and said, okay, when do you want to go to camp? And I said, do I have to go? Okay, how about this? I'll go out Wednesday. We'll do Jerry Jones on Sunday. And how about if I come back Monday? Would that be okay? Well, no, we got to keep, okay, all right, I'll stay the week. I'll stay the whole week. And that's not right. I mean, that's just not right. Mark Cuban sent me this note yesterday, and he goes, well, maybe now that you're retired, you'll actually come to a Mavericks game again. And I said, well, now that I'm retired, I can't afford your ticket prices. I said, will you honor an expired press pass?
No.
And But I don't go to games because I used to go to every game over Union Arena. I'd go down there and watch the first half or, see whatever. And now, well, I said this to Mark several years back. I said, they've invented this thing called television. I mean, I watch the Rangers games. I watch the golf tournaments. I watch the Mavericks, I said, I watch them on television. I just don't traipse over to the building and park myself upstairs in a press box and sit there for a little bit. I just don't. And, should I? I don't know, probably, but I don't. As I jokingly say, I've got people to do that stuff for me, But when it really hit me a couple of years ago that I'd reached a point in my life, and I feel almost kind of stupid saying this, but I reached a point in my life where I didn't want to go to California for 6 weeks in the summertime.
Yeah.
I'd rather stay in Waxahachie when it's 104 than go to California on the company dime. And I mean, that's just wrong. I mean, that's wrong for everybody involved. And that's when I started thinking about, the exit point. And, and as I also said, for the last couple of years, it was hard for me to pull the ripcord because I needed the check. I wanted the check. And working for a paycheck never works out well for me. It never has. Nor have I ever worked for the check. The check has followed me for the most part, and I'm very appreciative that it has. But I feel sorry because most of my friends, they work for the check. Mm-hmm. They're pushing papers at the bank or pushing papers in the offices or whatever because they need the check. I was lucky enough that, no, I don't have to work for the check. But the last couple of years I have been. And again, that's just not fair to anybody involved. And now that I finally got my finances figured out where I think I'm going to be okay, it's time for me to go. And if it turns out that I've miscalculated the numbers, I'll be the guy at Walmart telling you that hammers are in aisle 7.
Well, I have a lot of favorite stories, and I know we got to go, and we appreciate your time, but I can't forget the time in Austin. Aikman had his back surgery or whatever it was, and we're at a place called Top of the Mark. And he was there with the guy that monitored him, Mickey, you, me, and others, my brother-in-law, Tony, and we had a fun time. And the check came. The lady brought the tab. Aikman threw down $100 bill. And you started on his ass about the fact, wait a minute, you just signed a 5-year, $50 million deal. You remember? Do you remember that at all?
I think it was a $20 bill, quite honestly. Aikman is probably if he's not number one of my all-time favorite guys, it's a short list. Let me put it that way. I love that man to death. He's done things for me. He's given me stories. He's traveled with me. We played golf together. He went back and spoke at my high school's graduation back in the early 90s. The whole town went nuts. But Aikman, I don't know how he had the career he did as a quarterback, because when it comes to paying the check, he's got the shortest arms in America. I love him to death, but he's got the shortest arms in America. Mm-hmm. And but yeah, no, those times were staggering. I mean, they were, and again, that was kind of the relationship I could have with Aikman. I mean, and I've had it with about 98% of the people that I've dealt with. Most of them get it. I'm just having fun. I enjoy it. And Daryl Johnston reached out to me the other day, and Rick Carlisle, the Mavericks coach, called me yesterday, and they get it. I mean, I have a job here. I mean, unfortunately, in some cases, my job is to say that you're really bad, and at the same time, I don't care. I mean, it's not personal to me. It's never been personal. I've had, and the only reason I feel comfortable about this, Smokey, and I hope you know this. I mean, Ed Bark used to write some incredibly negative reviews of my work in the early days. I mean, he was incredibly hard on me. And he called me one time, and I answered the phone, and I'm answering his questions. And he said, have you ever read anything I've written? I said, I've got everything you've written in my desk drawer. I mean, I read everything. And he goes, but you always take my calls, and you always answer my questions. And I said, well, yeah, that's your job. Your job is to critique me. And I don't like that you said this. I don't like that you said that. But that's your job. I don't care what you write. I don't care what you say. I know who I am. And most athletes, I think, get that. Unfortunately, not all of them get that. And most coaches, and, like I said to Mark Cuban one time, why would you possibly care about what I say? You're Mark Cuban, for goodness sakes. You're Mark Cuban. There's nothing I can say that's going to change Mark Cuban's life. So why would you be upset? And I, for the most part, have been able to take the criticism and just kind of laugh about it and say, yeah, okay, the check's still cleared. I can still have fun. I don't take it personally. When it crosses that line, some of the emails that I've gotten over the years, they do cross that line and they do get personal, and I don't take those particularly well. But I've had a lot of critics, and I respect, I go right back to Jerry Jones. For the most part, he accepts the criticism and then does his job. I respect the heck out of that. I mean, I respect the heck out of that. And some people find that hard to understand, but because, again, not all of them do. Not all of them do.
Dale, we appreciate it. Yeah, I consider you, I haven't seen you much the last few years, a great friend. You were there for me during some very difficult times. You hosted those parties in Waxahachie. Craig was a part of that. The family's a part of it. They're incredible. Congratulations. I hope to see you at Cowboys training camp when it's the time you're there.
I think I've tried to avoid you ever since you talked me into playing that golf game against that pro down in San Antonio, and we lost all that money. Ever since then, I realized you really don't understand how to bet on a golf course, and I'm done with you.
and thanks for the time I was able to play Dallas National, which was a great treat. Thank you.
It was good, wasn't it? I plan on, hopefully, again, depending on all the protocols and, how this stupid COVID thing works out, but I'm planning on, at least our plan is to make a final trip to California and a final interview out there, hopefully, with Jerry, and then probably we'll swing over to BJ's and I'll pick up one more tab and then we'll call it a day.
I can't wait. Thanks, Dale. Appreciate it. God bless. Dale Hansen. Appreciate his time retiring 50 years. 9 years in Iowa or Nebraska and Iowa and elsewhere, and 41 years in Dallas-Fort Worth. Craig Smoak's off the radar. Kenny Mayne a little bit after 5 o'clock. This is SicEm365 Radio.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness was built to help give you a chance to enjoy elite tennis facilities and also remain fit or reshape your body. Now Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has gone through its own physical changes. There are 7 large flat screens stretched across the main and improved weight room with Wi-Fi available and their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports channels. The beautiful sound of active treadmills and elliptical machines, group exercise classes throughout each day, a new ballet bar for bar classes, a new look lounge and bar with beer and wine with more large flat screens available. Touchless water fountains outside each spacious men's and women's locker rooms, showers, sauna, and whirlpool. Upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts and lessons for adults and juniors. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Also, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. So start today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco. Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house-cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasonings, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Allen Samuels is celebrating the Pacifica Minivan Month with the all-new Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid Limited with up to $6,000 in values or 0% for 72 months. The 2021 Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid Limited has exceptional and efficient hybrid gas range for local driving or extended excursions. See the new Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid Limited at Allen Samuels, the award-winning customer service Central Texas dealer. Located at 201 West Loop 340, Allen Samuels is your friend in the car business.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The SicEm365 Radio app is sponsored by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
Earlier today, the Baylor men's tennis team beat TCU in the quarterfinals. They'll play Tennessee tomorrow, number 1 against number 3. And Sven Law will join us. The singles match that he'll join, singles and doubles player. He'll join us today at 5:20. Kenny Mayne coming up in just a little bit. Craig Smoak's Off the Radar will be around 5:35 on many things that are off the radar and some of the stories that we follow up on and more. The PGA Championship continues. Corey Connors is now the leader with 3 holes left to play at 4 under par. Not much more movement. There's a couple in the clubhouse at 3 under par, the names of Keegan Bradley, Victor Hovland, and Brooks Koepka as well. Morikawa, the defending champion, at 2 under par. Looking for a couple of other names. Phil Mickelson had a terrible start. He's now 1 under through 15. At one point today, Phil Mickelson was like 3 or 4 over, and he's 3 under par on the back 9, so there's a story with that as well. I'm trying to find the news on where Jordan Spieth might be. He was hanging around even. DeChambeau, Steve, where did I just saw his name? He's even with 1 hole left to play as well. But Jordan Spieth, Rahm, even with 4 holes left to play. Jimmy Walker shot 1 over par. And I always seem like I could never find Jordan Spieth's name as I scroll down. I know he's not any further than 2 or 3 over par, so I just may have gone right by him. So we'll have that and update you one more time on that. When we come back, Kenny Mayne, ESPN for a long, long time. I think 27 years. We just heard from Dale Hansen retiring in September. Kenny Mayne has a long way to go. What's next for him on SicEm365 Radio?
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Hey, we're qualified buyer with 4,000 down to 2.9% TTNL extra. See deal for details.
Travel is back, and so are the savings at the Memorial Day Savings Event at Richard Carr. Hit the road in a 2016 Buick Encore for only $152 a month, a 2016 GMC Sierra for only $318 a month, a 2018 Mercedes GLA for $334 a month, or a 2015 GMC Terrain for only $135 a month. 100% credit approval is always our goal. It's the Memorial Day Savings Event going on now at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
4! I am the most popular player in all the land. Yahtzee!
The 5 o'clock hour is brought to you by Edward Jones and financial advisor Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
You always get kind of a sense you think you know somebody that's a personality, whether it's on radio or television or even maybe somebody that's a part of Hollywood, and you like what you see. Sometimes you don't. Always love what I heard or saw and who he was as Kenny Mayne. And then I got to know him, not really personally, but got to know him when he was Wounded Warrior amputee flag football games and what he's done for wounded warriors and veterans. And Kenny Mayne, formerly for a long time of ESPN, now a free agent, joins us on SicEm365 Radio, as good as a person as you could possibly have. Kenny, you've covered free agents for a long, long time in your career, and now you are one. What's it like?
It feels freeing. Actually, you had it slightly off. I still have 2 shows to go. So end of the month is the end of my contract. The last show is Monday. I work Saturday and Monday's the grand finale. Now it feels weird because I've been kind of half in, half out here since, May 10th, I guess, a couple Mondays ago. That was kind of like when we all, both sides agreed, okay, this is not going to work. And I still had some shows left on the schedule that had already been put, we go a month at a time, right? And I said, I should finish my schedule, right? Like, instead of quitting on the project. All it meant was if I said I'm good, John Anderson would have to come in 3 extra days, or Bucci or Eves or, Nabil, somebody, right? So, and it's kind of fun in a way, like, saying goodbye to all my friends. We're trying to have good shows. Last night's got a little looser than most shows, but we were also on ESPN2 up against the Lakers Warriors, who was watching us anyway.
Kenny, will you, if your next thing isn't, doing a highlight show or anything like that, will you miss that particular part of it? Because you are one of the true artistes of picking random words and making them work with highlights.
There's no question I will miss immediately, I think. Because it's funny right now, you have, like my schedule was roughly 12 or 13 shows a month, and you're just kind of recovering on the other days. Sometimes I do some other outside projects, but you might work 2 days, have a day off, work 3 days, have 1 day off, work pretty soon you get up to 12, 13, 14 shows a month. And that's roughly the same for most. Some people do a couple more, some people do a couple less. And when you're not on air, you really do it's kind of fun. I'm tired, but I'd rather go back and call a Steph Curry game. It's fun. And the immediacy of it, like we've had, 6 no-hitters now. We had another one last night. We had one the night before. And to be working on those nights when something crazy happens and everything has to be adjusted on the fly, it really is fun. It's a fun job. Tiring, and especially as you get older, the recovery isn't as good. I'm sleeping until 11 and eating at 1 o'clock and, driving through the day, try to exercise and go back and do it again. But I will also like the freedom to go do a bunch of fun projects that maybe I wouldn't have been able to do at ESPN. So you got me for a couple more highlight calls Saturday and Monday night.
Well, you mentioned the options that you might have. Does the current landscape make it maybe a little less daunting to leave a place like ESPN because there are so many different companies and shows and things like that have sprouted up, and just so many different avenues to also deliver entertainment as well?
Yeah, I'm finding that. I am fortunate and thankful a whole bunch of people have reached out, and no decisions are being made yet. I have one decision. One thing I have always done, or quite often done at ESPN, was be in the commercial making, not just the Sports Center ones, but for advertisers, right? Mm-hmm. And I was involved in the upfronts every year, helping sell ESPN, as a place, to figure ads. So I actually made an advertising arrangement with a company called Olipop. It's like a healthier soft drink, right? Less sugar, like 2 grams. And I was already a fan of it. I was trying to quit the sugary stuff and get on something healthier. And just almost half joke, half serious on Levitard's show the other day, I told him, hey, I'm going to definitely, one thing I'm going to try to do is make commercials, pitch myself, either I'm in them or make them for other people. And I, kind of kidding, like, hey, Olipop, I'm talking to you. I got an idea for you. And they literally got a hold of me on Twitter. I called the guy with the, I answered back. They were going to send me a case. I was like, yeah, I don't want a case. I want to make a commercial. We already have a case. We're on your mailing list. So yeah, that's my first thing I'm doing, I guess, tomorrow, and that's even before I'm leaving ESPN, so that's good.
How long are they going to give you? Is it a regular show Monday, or are they going to give you some extra time?
I think it's a 2-hour, I think it's 11 to 1, I think, or is it 11 to 12:30? I don't even know. It's either 90 minutes or 2 hours. half the time I just show up, tell me what time I'm on, what channel. Like, you know, you show up at like 6-ish most of the time. Lately, I've been pushing it toward 8. But, you know, there ain't that much to write. Like, in the old days, we wrote a lot more. We wrote a lot more lead-ins. You know, the on-camera, like, you know, the Cubs are playing the Mariners and blah, 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 and then the highlight. Right now, we show more video and get direct to it. The researchers hand us the research-type material. You know, that was the 5th time in 7 games, blah, 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 right? So you can get ready for a show as far as the mechanics of it, at least I can, in under an hour usually. And then I'm waiting for games, waiting for the notes on the games and watching the big games and, you know, waiting for 11 o'clock to happen. So I always wanted to do a show. I don't know if you remember, they did that a couple times, through the behind-the-scenes, how is SportsCenter made. I think they did it twice, maybe 3 times. And it was like a live look at the production, how it works. Then you went to the show itself, right? And sort of like alternate program. And I was always saying, what if we did a show where we showed up at 10 o'clock to be on at 11? Just how would we do it? How crazy would it be? You know, how intense would you have to get? But they can do that, I guess, on their own. They didn't go for that one while I was there.
Kenny, I got to say, as I was preparing and getting some audio for the show today and looking up, so I fell down a Kenny Mayne YouTube hole that lasted probably 90 minutes. I'm not going to lie, I mean, today I was just watching stuff. You had a line that I think is one of the funniest things I've ever heard on television, and it was an Andre Agassi, and it was just like one of these, somebody put together just a montage of clips from you for ever. And you said it was an end of an Andre Agassi tennis match, and he jumped over the net to like go congratulate, I think it was Michael Chang. And it was Andre Agassi wins in straight sets. Now he jumps over the net to pummel Michael Chang and steal his racket. And I have never laughed so hard for so long sitting alone in my house.
I'm vaguely remembering that. That's funny because sometimes people will bring something up and they're like, oh yeah, I remember that night. Like, you know, there's been these funny little moments along the way. That one, I'm going to have to, I'm going to admit I don't remember saying that. But, yeah, there's, you know, and the other two is all the features. Because remember, for a long time, I was doing the pretend football stories for, a long time, 12 years. And so every Sunday on Countdown, you know, they do the regular reporting and the injuries and the, you know, the matchups. And then they'd go to me for my, you know, ridiculous take on whatever we were doing. And, you know, some didn't turn out as well as others. But something's always going to be the best and something's going to be the worst. The one that always stands out the most is the Marshawn Lynch at Applebee's in Buffalo. And basically the background on it was Willis McGahee was their running back. Marshawn was the rookie. McGahee left to Baltimore. And he kind of trashed Buffalo on the way out of town. Like, you know, it's so boring. There's nothing to do. They got Applebee's and the Dave & Buster's, whatever. And, you know, don't even start on the women. You know, that was his whole line, right? And so we said to Marshawn, hey, we're going to play it like you enjoy the women of Buffalo. You respect them and love them, and you love Applebee's and you love Dave & Buster's. So we went to all these places and just had fun. You know, once we kind of set Marshawn up, he had some lines we kind of gave him, but all the rest was just him being him. And it was a great meeting with him, and, you know, we became closer later when he played for the Seahawks, and he's going to be on Monday's show to say goodbye.
Well, he was just on Westworld. You essentially launched his acting career, Kenny.
I feel like I did, for real. I don't get any credit for it, but I was also in a commercial with him. Man, the year before the horrible incident at the goal line, we call it, the incident at the goal line, against the Patriots. So the week before, you know, they're still in Seattle before they're going to Arizona for the Super Bowl. And I had a story idea that I thought worked for him, but they weren't interested, so I sold it instead to Progressive Insurance. And we made basically the same premise of what was going to be a 2-minute TV story, made it to a 30-second commercial where Marshawn didn't want to talk, you know, that whole thing where he was talking to the media. But once he heard the word insurance, he just couldn't stop talking. He had lots to say about, you know, tariff of insurance and all the different rates and whatever. I remember all the lines, but he was great. He's such a good guy, and he's so, you know, so real is overused, but it's true. He's just so genuine, like, and also does so many good things that get unnoticed. He doesn't wave his hands like, look at me, I'm doing all this, but he's just been so good for the kids, for Special Olympics, for helping, you know, kids in tougher areas, you know, get outfitted for school. And I remember in particular, he had left the Seahawks. He was right then. He was, I think he was in a period where he sort of retired and then maybe came back, but he wasn't in Seattle anymore. He'd moved back down to Oakland, and there was a big Special Olympics event that I was invited to go to, and, you know, just meet the kids and do some speaking or whatever it is. And Marshawn was on the original list, and it was like, oh shoot, he won't be here because he moved back to Oakland. And sure enough, around the corner rolls in Marshawn Lynch. Like, he committed to be there, and he showed up on his own, and the kids loved him. You know, taking pictures, and he's clowning with them like he always does. Yeah, he's a good one. I think he's gonna do a whole bunch of things. Like, he really is a funny, genuinely funny guy. He has that Oakland accent going on, you know. So he's gonna do fun. Who knows what he'll do next? He'll do something good. He's already doing it.
Yeah, he's got great timing, hilarious, all that. Yeah, I think he's got definitely a bright future doing whatever. Kenny, what's been the reaction on your end just since, you know, this became public, just the reception, the text messages and all of that? Has it been overwhelming? Has it been humbling? What's that been like on your end?
I'd say both. Yeah, like, you know, people use that word humble, and it's true. That's how you feel, like I'm not worthy of it, or like I can't believe that's how people, you know. Because I said, not jokingly, well, I mean, I meant it seriously, but I said it jokingly to a friend. Like, what if I put out a tweet out that I'm leaving and like 9 people like it or something? You know, like that could have happened, right? Like, maybe there's a bunch of other news that day. I kind of got in the weeds there a little bit. I got to retweet my own tweet. Hey, no, really, I'm leaving. Like, say something. But instead, it was funny how it happened. It was 1:00. Gretchen, my wife, had to go pick up Bryn, my stepdaughter, and she had to leave. You know, she was taking off as I'm telling her we're all done, and she knew what I meant. And you know, that's a lot to handle walking out the door. Like, we didn't really get to discuss it. It happened kind of quick. I was okay with it. I was kind of like, you know what? We think we have some other plans. They set an over/under on me. And I'm going to go play myself in the over, and not even saying that like I'm such a big hit. Just saying like, that's what I'm going to do. Like, that was my choice. Either stay under circumstances that people wouldn't like. And it's no knock on them. They get to make whatever decision they want. They're going to do great work. They got all the sports. They got good people all left and right. Like, I have no malice. And like I said, I'm sure there's going to be, you know, great people there doing more great things. You know, all the shows are pretty good. So it just won't be with me. So we'll try something else. But yeah, just absolutely stunned at the reaction. Like, I, you know, didn't really put a number on how many people would care, but it was whatever the number I would have made up. This was far more. And then, you know, I very quickly already started talking to people about Project XYZ, and we'll figure out what the heck it is at some point. Right now, I'm going to go on summer vacation. That's my plan. The most immediate plan is to like enjoy. You know, we haven't even gone on a plane since the beginning of the pandemic. I've stayed in Connecticut, done my job, taken dog walks. You know, hung out at home mainly. Things are starting to improve, and you know, hopefully people are still being careful. But yeah, we're going to take a couple trips. I haven't seen Seattle in 17 months, so definitely want to get back home and see my people.
Kenny, you have an amazing gift, and there's no question about it. I saw the letter you wrote to ESPN when you wanted to ask for a job or if they would hire you. You've always had the sense of humor. Is that something you've always had since you were even like 5, 6, 8, 9 years old?
Yeah, I mean, back then I was just the idiot. I was the youngest of 4 kids and the only boy. And so, yeah, I was probably, you know, running around trying to get attention, jumping over the couch and doing whatever I did. I did not have a polished act back in those days. My grandparents would come over. My sisters are all very talented. One in particular is like still a professional singer, and my nieces as well. So they put on a little performance. They're up there, you know, just killing it with these songs. I'd go up and like, you know, tuck my ears inside each other or something. You know, just I had nothing. I had no game. Just I'm going to be an idiot. I'm the clown. Look at me. I'd say I basically have done for a number of years what used to get me sent out in the hall in 5th grade, right? Like, let's come up with the most absurd thing right now and try to own the room. So that's still what I do, I guess. But it's just influenced by all sorts of people. My dad was funny. His best friend was funny. My friends were funny. I watched Johnny Carson growing up. Like, Get Smart was a key show for me. The Bugs Bunny Hour, the Flintstones, you know, those are the building blocks of Sports Center at 11 o'clock.
Part of my YouTube poll did also include Main Street now, which was, you know, I guess the sitcomiest thing that ESPN ever did.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you had a lot of great. I mean, pretty much half the cast of Parks and Rec was with you.
I'd say 90% of the cast. Like, that's so funny. He's referring to, if those who don't know, Josh Shelov and Todd Pellegrino, friends of mine, came to me and said, "Hey, we got an idea. What if we take you and, you know, the absurd things you already do and take it one more step, like kind of have a fictional life of you You know, it didn't do everything. We didn't have like the home life. It was more about my work life. And we just took real things like expense reports. You know, everybody hates doing expense reports, and you always, you know, somebody questions, you know, what about this thing or what about that? So we took that as an episode. Just the first one we did was probably my favorite. Scott Van Pelt and I doing what's called fixes, and that's, for those who don't know, like the last show of the night.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
going to repeat a bunch of times, right? So you have to fix it. You have to clean up mistakes. And if you're live, you're live. You know, you try to fix it in the moment if you can. But, you know, the right score, the right name, et cetera. And in this premise, I could not say Rafa Nadal correctly. I just kept calling him Rafi or something else. And Allison Booker, an actress, a friend of mine, she was on Parks as well. She's my producer, and she's like, you know, it's just a whole drama of what it's like to stay till 4 a.m. to fix a show. Van Pelt's like, my counselor, Vikram, says I'm not home enough. That's the problem with my marriage. And I'm like, what? You're blaming me for your marriage? Not just that, but the estrangement from my children, you know. So we had so much fun. Ben Schwartz was on it. John Glazer was on it. Aubrey Plaza, Big Star, was on it. Mulaney was on an episode, I think. And I'm leaving out people. Lenny Jacobson, Chris Smith, and I'm forgetting a bunch more. I apologize. But so fun doing. And we did them pretty quick. You know, we would shoot an episode. They weren't long. They were like, what were they, 4 minutes or 5 minutes? You know, whatever they were. We would knock one out usually in one day. You know, shoot all day and have all the scenes. And, okay, there's that one. And then we'd do the next one. And I think we released them in batches of 8, maybe. I can't remember. 6 or 8. And we did it, like, you know, a couple of years on and off. And then for some reason they decided no more. And all those people got hurt at Parks and Recreation and other things. And I continued ESPN. The next thing I did, I liked almost equally well, with some good friends, Matt Doyle and Aaron Fruitman and Mike Andrus. We traveled the world for about 2 years on and off. And we just did some crazy stuff around the world. Irish road bowling and Hornusen and the Palio in Italy, if you want to Google that one, and Muay Thai boxing. I slid down a volcano in Nicaragua. I hit a golf ball off a mountain in South Africa, and on and on and on. And made this thing. It was like a takeoff on Wide World of Sports, right? We called it Wider World of Sports. That was my idea. Like, we added an R to differentiate ourselves from the other show. And that one lasted a few years, and eventually I started going back to Sports Center and some features, and then the last few years just Sports Center. You know, a certain number of shows every year.
Kenny, last thing. When you got into sports broadcasting, obviously you knew you'd get the interview or cover whatever great personalities and names and whatever else. Did you ever fathom that Snoop Dogg and names and people and personalities and others like that would be a part of your sometimes core of who you got to meet and do things with?
No, it is funny. My niece says that, Heather, she's like, what is your life? What is this? Why are you with Snoop Dogg? Why did that just happen? You know, she says it's my voice. And it's true. Like, I mean, I got to work with Stevie Wonder. That's like my highlight forever. I got him to say I can't be at the All-Star game. I have a high ankle sprain. That was his line. But hey, you mentioned the top before we go. We played all the flag football games with the veterans, and I ruined my ankle playing football back in college for UNLV. And a few years ago, I got this device called an ExoSim from this guy in Gig Harbor, Washington. So Gretchen and I started a foundation called Run Freely, RUNFREELY, runfreely.org. And I just learned from the girl that kind of runs my website, Mara, that helps me out. Since my announcement and all the publicity that attended that with interviews, and I've always plugged in on the interviews, we've raised enough to get 2 more veterans running again.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
And we've done almost one a month since we started. Not quite. It kind of slowed down for a minute, but we're going to get back on it. I just asked a famous NFL quarterback if he'd help. I don't want to say his name in case he can't. But, you know, we just want to do some cool little projects along the way to raise more. Because right now we basically raise it by me doing interviews like this. And somebody listening goes, oh, let me check that website. And if you read the story, you'll see what it's about. You see why I needed it. But, I mean, I ran 15 miles an hour on day one. And if I couldn't run at all without the brace, right? I would have been limping and hurting for 5 days. And I cried for like 2 hours, and I called Gretchen, and we just seemed to be like, let's do something good. And it's just been amazing to help, you know, Jamal Crawford, Gary Payton, Steve Largent, Jerry Rice, Lenny Wilkins, Steve Kerr, Chris Long, Scott Van Pelt, you know, leaving out many names who have either put their name in front of it or helped donate. And then there's a whole bunch of people who send in 5 and 10s, and they're not as much. You know, some people, $10 donation is like $100 to me or $1,000 to somebody else. So we appreciate it. And the veterans' letters afterward are amazing. Like, the gratitude's incredible.
Hey, Kenny, thank you. I know many have asked for your time, and we appreciate you. Good luck with what happens with your future. No question it'll be successful. Love watching you, what you're doing. Good luck the last couple of shows and on Monday as well. And thanks for your time. And runfreely, FREELY.org is what he was talking about, and we've talked to Kenny about that in the past as well. Thank you very much. Kenny Mayne, the main event, Sports Center anchor for at least another couple of shows, and Monday will be one you have to probably DVR, I would think. When we come back, Sven Law of Baylor men's tennis. They're in the semifinals to play Tennessee after beating TCU again, and he's next on SicEm365 Radio. So the other day I made a call to Bob Mock. He owns 3 Marco's Pizzas, Belmead, Woodway, and also in China Spring. They're looking now for drivers and people in management. Yes, they're looking for those of you who want to get a job. You may say, I can't find something. Well, this is what you can get. Right now, they're looking for insiders, 16 years and older, management and drivers 18 years of age and older. And if you refer Marco's Pizza, an employee that goes there and works 100+ hours, you will get a $100 Marco's gift card. Tell anyone you refer to give them a call and your name and you as the referral. And if someone is hired at Marco's in the 3 locations in the Waco area and they work for 100+ hours, you get a $100 gift card to Marco's Pizza. We had Marco's Pizza deliver. We had a regular crust and pepperoni and cheese. We had a couple of all meat thin crust pizza. They deliver. It's awesome, and we appreciate Bob Mock and also Marco's. Again, go to any of the locations. Go to Marco's Pizza online with any of the 3 locations, Belmead, Woodway, or the Hewitt area and China Spring, and refer somebody who could be a driver and also management or more at Marco's Pizza in Waco, Texas.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Don Humidor, you're home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasonings, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
1, 2.
I'm in love with a man named Rudy. I'm
delicious too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy, last name Barbecue. It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's tasty oak smoked barbecue.
Next in line.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The SicEm365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
All right, this 5 o'clock hour, it was a tremendous afternoon for the Baylor men's tennis team. It started off what looked like it could be a little rocky. And yet another match against arch rival TCU, but they end up winning 4-1. Semifinals against Tennessee. Sven Law is now on with SicEm365 Radio. We've had Sven before, Paul, Catalina, David, and Craig Smoak. Sven, how much did you get inspired by how you guys came back to find a way to get that doubles point the way you did?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. I think it was obviously a tight situation and tiebreaker, but I felt like our boys, Charlie and Finn, just executed well in those pressure situations. And, it's obviously nice to win a doubles point, but even, I think that the duo match is won in the singles. Doubles point is just a bonus if you do get it. It's always good, but I felt like it definitely helped going into singles. I felt like they came out with a lot of energy, thinking, maybe this time it's going to be a little different than it was the last two times that we played them. But I felt like as soon as we won a doubles point, it helped me individually in the singles. I felt like I started really well, got the guy early in the first set, and then just kind of rode the momentum, I guess.
Oh, just following along with this, Sven, as we were, we were doing the show, so it's hard for us to we didn't see it, but this didn't look like, you see 4-1, sometimes you think, oh, well, that went as planned, but this was not an easy 4-1 win for you guys, was it?
No, definitely not. Like you said, the doubles point was decided in a tiebreaker, but I felt like looking at the rest of the scores, the matches that we did win, obviously I got done pretty early, but the rest of the matches were close, so it's a game of interest, and thankfully it came our way, and I feel like that's just the outcome of our preparation, confidence, and belief that we have in each other and ourselves, and yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting time tomorrow.
What was it like to see the final point come in to secure the victory, and just the initial feeling of, hey, we're moving on to the Final Four?
Obviously great. That we were in this situation 2 years ago. Me and some of my teammates. That year we lost to the Gators in Elite Eight in the same location about the same time 2 years ago, like I said. And obviously when Spencer got the job done, I felt like some kind of relief, I guess you can call it. But I think nothing would be more satisfying than winning the championship. And so I think for me personally, and I believe, and I hope so, for my teammates as well and the coaching staff, anything else but winning the championship would be a disappointment. And so, I guess you can call that an achievement to get into Final Four, but I think, like I said, nothing but a championship would kind of meet our goals that we set for this year.
First time in 6 years that Baylor men's tennis into the Final Four, the semifinals. Also, they won it all back in 2004. First time that Baylor won a national championship. Tennessee is obviously on a roll. They haven't played them, Baylor and Tennessee, since 2012, so there's nothing common anytime lately. Your thoughts about the Volunteers?
To be honest, I don't know too many guys on that team. Like you said, we haven't, in my 4 years, we haven't really gotten close to them in any tournament. We never scheduled to play against them in a regular season. I'm sure that the scouting reports that we have from them are going to be good from our coaching staff. But I feel like it doesn't matter who we play. I feel like if we talked about it in our meeting or our meetings throughout the whole season. If we go out with our chip on our shoulder, which I believe we do in those pressure situations, I felt like every time we executed and we had confidence going into a match, we came out with a positive result. And so for us, I think it matters who's on the other side. It's more about what we can control and how we act and play on the court. I think the primary focus is what we can do for ourselves, our games, and control what we can control, and hopefully the things will take care of the rest. But I think, like I said, it doesn't matter who's on the other side. It's more important that we do what we can do the best.
Sven, how quick are you once you're done with one of your matches? How quick are you over to watch another one once you're done?
Oh, yeah, in the same exact moment. As soon as you win, that's something that maybe other teams have struggled in this particular tournament. Actually, I'm not gonna say who, but some teams could do a better job, and I think we do a really good job of once you get over the hump in your own match. If you're playing, as soon as that match is over, you just drop your racket, maybe grab a drink or something that you need, and just get support or try to support your teammates that are as close to your court, and get over the hump for them. Try to provide as much energy off the court for them, and I think everybody does a good job from our team, and I think it's just something that we kind of pointed out early in the season, so everybody is on the same page, and it's definitely been paying off.
Sven, I think that kind of speaks to my next question a little bit, and obviously you guys still have a couple more matches you hope before all is said and done. But could you just speak to the culture and the camaraderie that is in the program right now, and how much that's helped fuel your success?
Yeah, I think it starts from the top. We have a great coaching staff, starting with Michael. He's probably the only coach that has been with me for 4 years. Maybe not as head coach, but from the coaching staff. And then it goes all the way down from Isak to George. Even the people that are not necessarily always with us. Jackie, even Kenny. They provide leadership for us, providing us with resources and opportunities for us to become the best people that we can be off the court, which then translates on the court. Obviously, if your preparation, hard work, your character, off the court is good, then you don't really have to be worried what's going to happen on the court, because those things translate one to each other. And I think from coaching staff, we have been nothing but positive. They've been very helpful throughout the whole, I guess, my 4 years here. But then, the new guys that came in, all the way from Spencer, Ryan, Charlie, Nick, those guys are obviously have been in a part of the other program for 4 years. Ryan came in a year earlier than them, and I think those guys have been, a great addition to our team, not just from the tennis standpoint, but just from the leadership, the discipline, and then the mindset that they have coming into our program. It fits very well, and so I think you can see it on the court. They've been playing like individually very, very well throughout the whole season, and I think as a team, it's just kind of falling together. And I think we're all playing the best tennis of the season, and obviously it's a great time to be playing the best tennis that you can in an NCAA tournament.
Sven Law of Baylor with us. They beat TCU 4-1. If you don't mind, one more question about when Spencer wins. It seals a semifinal trip. You guys are number one in the country. It's TCU. It's a rival. But I saw the reaction to me was kind of as if business as usual. Did you feel that too? That, okay, yeah, we're excited, but we took care of business. We got more work to do?
Yeah, I think, it goes back to what I said earlier. it's just one of those things that you're happy and excited about. For I guess for a very short time, maybe a few seconds, some guys for a few minutes, but then you go back to thinking, like if you lose in the semis, no one's going to be talking about you, but only the guy, only the team that wins at the end. And so that's just something that we've been reinforcing, going back to 2 years where I felt like we had a really good season, but at the end of the day, everybody's talking about Texas winning the national championship. No one's talking about Baylor beating them in a Big 12 final. And so it just goes back to that thing, obviously we're excited and, very happy to beat TCU. It's one of our biggest rivals. We played them 4 times so far this year. And, we also go back to saying you don't want to lose to the same team twice in the same season. So I think that's just, one of those things that we're like, okay, we won, but nothing has been accomplished yet. I think, again, nothing but a championship would be, disappointment for me personally, and I believe for the rest of the team.
Ben, thank you very much. Congratulations. Good luck tomorrow against Tennessee and also into the future. We appreciate your time so much.
Thank you. Appreciate for having me.
Thank you to Max Calderon again for setting that up. Baylor wins 4-1 against TCU now in the semifinals. Tennessee at some point tomorrow. Haven't played since 2012. Tennessee all time is 2-6, 6-2, against Baylor. When we come back, Craig Smoak off the radar. SicEm365 Radio.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness was built to help give you a chance to enjoy elite tennis facilities and also remain fit or reshape your body. Now Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has gone through its own physical changes. There are 7 large flat screens stretched across the main and improved weight room with Wi-Fi available and their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports channels. The beautiful sound of active treadmills and elliptical machines, group exercise classes throughout each day, a new ballet bar for bar classes, a new look lounge and bar with beer and wine with more large flat screens available. Touchless water fountains outside each spacious men's and women's locker rooms, showers, sauna, and whirlpool. Upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts and lessons for adults and juniors. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Also, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. So start today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for Craig Smoak's Off the Radar.
All right, welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Time for Off the Radar, just to look at a few stories that typically don't spend a lot of time on or might not even mention if not for this segment because we've got so much else going on. Julian Edelman has put comeback rumors to rest. He's not going to be joining up with Rob Gronkowski and Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. There was some talk about him, potentially going and getting the band back together like Gronk and Brady did last year. Edelman retired in April. He had played for 12 years. Brady had brought it up in an interview with Deion Sanders that Edelman wasn't really technically retired, but Edelman went on to Michael Irvin's podcast, says he's not worried about the Hall of Fame. Says he's got nothing left to prove. His knees are basically, shot at this point. So he said, I'm a one-team guy. That was the big message, though. He's not going to be like Brady or Montana or Emmett or all these guys who go and play for a couple of different teams. So between his knees breaking down and the fact he's got 3 rings and the fact that he's a one-team guy, Julian Edelman with Michael Irvin ruling out the potential of a comeback.
The catch against the Falcons, was that him? That was David Tyree-ish, right? That was a monster catch. He's a tough-as-nails guy. And a guy that's been very outspoken about racism when it comes to those who have made comments about the Jewish community.
Yes, he's a big advocate and kind of almost a unofficial spokesperson in some ways for the Jewish community in sports because there's not a lot of, Jewish voices. And so he's, between what he did on the field and the respect he earned there, plus the fact that if you kind of listen to the guy, he's not BS. He's kind of just legit article. He's got some powerful messages he's delivered and some things that he's done that have been great off the field. But definitely a great player on the field. My knees breaking down. I'm not going to sit here. I got everything I wanted. I got 3 rings, played in a magical dynasty with an unbelievable franchise coach, best quarterback of all time. Like, I'm not a greedy guy. I played to win. I played to compete. I don't need anything else to prove. I'm good with what I did. I left it all on the field, and he sure did. So Julian Edelman ruling out the comeback.
Plus, where would he be right now? They've got Antonio Brown, they've got Chris Godwin, they've got Mike Evans, O.J. Howard's coming back, Gronk is there. They have guys like Scotty Miller and other people that they like. They've got every running back back. They drafted a running back. They drafted. I don't know where you fit Julian Edelman on the Bucs roster. At that point, it's just can I have sprinkles on top of my sprinkles? Just unnecessary.
Yep. Also, the unwritten rules of baseball have been in the news here lately. Tony La Russa. CC Sabathia in particular is very upset with Tony La Russa. I don't know if you've heard some of his comments, but he has gone all in on Tony La Russa. Now, for those who don't know what's going on with Tony La Russa, he's the current manager of the Chicago White Sox. They're a very good team. They're a good team. Mm-hmm. But there was a situation that occurred where Yermin Mercedes comes up to the plate against the Minnesota Twins. It's a 3-0 count, and Mercedes decides to swing. A bunch of the unwritten rules of baseball crowd gets super upset about the swinging on a 3-0 pitch when you're blowing a team out. And add to this, it was, a position player that was throwing to him because the game had gotten so out of control that the Twins had to move a position player. And so they, moved the position player there. He swings on a 3-0 pitch. People complain about bad sportsmanship or whatever, and then, Mercedes gets thrown at. And La Russa basically agrees with the unwritten rules of baseball that Mercedes kind of had it coming because, hey, you're not supposed to swing on a 3-0 pitch in a blowout against a position player. But the baseball world has reacted quite harshly to this, and there seems to be a lot of growing discontent with the old unwritten rules of baseball. And a lot of people lambasting Tony La Russa for siding with the opposing team rather than having the back of his player in this position. So the Twins throw behind Mercedes. La Russa said he agreed with their decision, then defended his words even more so yesterday. But White Sox players have been out on social media, and they do not agree with their manager. And they're a good team, so it'll just be interesting to see if this is something that lingers, if this is a little fire in the clubhouse that he can put out. But CC Sabathia went absolutely all the way in on Tony La Russa. He was on a podcast. He said, Tony La Russa's out of touch with the game. He should not be managing one of the best teams in the AL, period. The fact that Tim Anderson, basically their captain, had to go on Instagram and step up for his teammate, saying, yeah, the game wasn't over. If you're going to put a position player in there to pitch, guess what? If he's going to lob blank over the plate, we're going to blank and tee off. Put a 10-run rule up there, cuz. If y'all don't want to see people get embarrassed and you don't want to see position players pitch and people swing on 3-0 and all that then make it a 10-run rule so the effing game will be over and you don't have these stupid-ass unwritten rules. And he just kept on. So what do you guys think? Unwritten rules of baseball, La Russa siding with the opposing team, abiding by the unwritten rules of baseball, swinging on 3-0. There's a lot to unpack there.
The problem with the unwritten rules of baseball is that they are unwritten, so they're kind of ever – there's this wide breadth. Like, I don't mind, like, sticking up for your team and all that, but also Tony La Russa needs to know that it's not 1986 when he was managing the White Sox the first time. It's 2021. So some of those unwritten rules are different now. And they are the goalposts move on that. So because of that, like, maybe you don't do that. And if your team, the other thing is, it doesn't sound to me like Tony La Russa knows his team all that well, because sometimes you enforce the unwritten rules because you might have a bunch of, and I say this term lovingly, just dirt bags on your team that respond to that. Well, if your team's not going to respond to it, then you made the situation worse. So I'm not saying that I'm against the unwritten rules of baseball, but you need to find out as a manager of your team which ones work and don't work to motivate your club.
All he had to do in the postgame is go, I'd really rather him not have done that back in the day, but things, and then measure or kind of get what lukewarm, cold, whatever in your clubhouse, because baseball's not locker room, it's clubhouse. I thought he just kept pushing, he kept doubling down on it. And that could create friction. First of all, he's how old is he, Paul? Not that he can't still, he's a hell of a manager.
He's 76.
So Hall of Fame guy, but yeah, I think he could have just said it and then moved on, but he keeps kind of doubling down. And you're right, I've seen some of the social media stuff.
Yeah.
Guys are upset with him, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't have their backs.
No.
I mean, he didn't have their backs. And like you said, if he didn't agree with swinging on a 3-0 in a blowout against a position player, then, should have told the guy beforehand, or should have just said afterwards, like, yeah, that was probably a bad look. I'll talk to him about it afterwards. But instead, by saying, like, he had it coming, well, then your own team's like, wait a second, dude. You're supposed to be defending us. So I don't know if you've seen this, Paul, as well, but that's sort of old school, new school baseball crowds.
Man.
There's a dividing line there now.
Well, I mean, like, you think about Bryce Harper to me is kind of that's the turning point.
The poster child for the new era, kind of?
Yeah, he's the poster child for the new era because he's a good player who could be a great player if some of this stuff wasn't a big deal to him. But he's a really good player, and he's the new era of baseball. And then I look at a guy who's just only slightly older than Bryce Harper and Mike Trout, who, again, doesn't show anybody up. He's the best player on the planet. He's unreal. And so he's kind of more the old school guy. But, yeah, it's changing. It's changing. And so, again, Tony La Russa needs to change with it. He's not going to be managing the White Sox for 5 years. I mean, he might do 2 or 3 max. I can't imagine him being 80 years old and sitting in the dugout really enjoying it. But maybe, but this is a really good team that doesn't need anything to throw it off. Teams that win the World Series, almost 100% are, and this is any championship, but their players and coach, no matter if they're friends and get along, they're completely in agreement with the way you handle your business during the game. And, that would be troubling to me if I was a White Sox fan.
NHL playoffs. Have you guys watched much? I've watched more NHL than I have NBA so far.
I always do. Me and hockey, Stanley Cup, I get interested. My brother Philip, who's a huge Penguins fan, he kind of helped me with I always knew the Stanley Cup mattered, but to me it's kind of like the Daytona 500, the Indianapolis 500, or the Preakness, the Belmont, and the Kentucky Derby. It catches my interest at this level. But during the year, I don't know much about what's going on.
Right. I'm the same way. I loosely keep up with the stars, but when the playoffs roll around, this year in particular, for some reason, I found myself more invested than ever, and I don't know why that is. Maybe I'm just changing as a sports fan, but I really enjoyed just sitting back and watching hockey for a couple of hours last night, and I just mentioned that because 4-game slate tonight. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, you got the Lightning and the Panthers, got the Penguins and the Islanders. This is a series that is a big deal up in Canada, and if you're a diehard hockey fan, this was a huge deal. But Montreal and Toronto, 2 of the original 6, they are getting underway as well with the game number 1. So that will be huge ratings in Canada, I'm sure. And then Vegas and Minnesota also tonight. That series is tied at 1. So 4-game slate, and actually the Lightning and Panthers, that's a 2-0 Tampa lead series-wise. That's actually underway, I believe, right now. Yeah. So just something for you to check out.
Yeah, my girlfriend is a big Predators fan. So
oh, really?
I have to watch
Nashville. Yeah, I can see that.
I watch the Predators a lot.
Well, I'll tell you, man, I'm enjoying the heck out of it. I really am. Also, this is something kind of should have brought up yesterday, Paul, but we got to figure out some of the college football games. We kind of knew scheduling-wise what we were going to see on opening weekend, but we got TV times and we got all that good stuff highlighted yesterday. So that opening weekend, Alabama-Miami will be a 2:30 game. Same day at 6:30, we've got Georgia-Clemson.
Oh, man.
Also on that Sunday, Notre Dame-Florida State, a 6:30 Sunday game. Also on Sunday, that's Notre Dame, Florida State, and then there's been kind of like this routine of Monday games, and they're
Labor Day,
yeah. So like Louisville's playing, who is it? I think I left that one off, but Louisville is playing somebody big on that Monday night as well. So yeah, Alabama, Miami, Georgia, Clemson on Saturday, Notre Dame, Florida State on Sunday, and then the Monday game I'm blanking on right now.
I look forward to saying a Catholic prayer that Florida State beats Notre Dame and not have that answered.
But does that get you excited? Just
I mean,
even though we know those games are coming, just to see the TV times.
Yes, there's going to be a people there. A lot of them there, dude. So I love it. I love that first weekend.
Okay, the Monday game. So there's going to be Saturday and those 2 big games that I mentioned, and Sunday big game, and then Monday Ole Miss and Louisville. That will be that's the game from Atlanta. So that's all now being released, and we're starting to get revved up for some college football. And I did see one other note. I saw Sports Betting Dimes, and look, there's like a billion of these different gambling accounts and things like that, but they put out an over-under on wins and losses for Big 12 teams. And just for, argument's sake, they've got Oklahoma and as the favorite. Baylor, 8 out of 10, 5.5 wins. Going over-under if you're betting on Sports Betting Dimes for Baylor at 5.5 wins.
I'll take the over.
I would, if it was 6, then I'd have to think about it. Yeah. But I'll take 6. I'll get them 6. And again, I don't know how they're going to get there other than if they have to win their non-conference games for sure. And we've been down that road before.
By the way, Craig, Wilder and Fury 3 is on. The deal's been made.
July 24th.
So did that just come down? Because, I've been following that.
Just now,
and that's disappointing for a lot of boxing fans out there. So now Anthony Joshua will have to wait. The fight everybody wanted to see was Fury-Joshua, but now Fury will have to go beat Wilder for the second and technically,
third.
Wink, wink, third time. Because he really beat him in that first fight. But, apparently Wilder was asking for $20 million to pull out. And so I guess the promoters were like, nah, let's just go ahead and do this fight and make some money and not have to lose $20 million right away. So there you go with that. And then one transfer portal note, Darwin Barlow, if you're a fan of Baylor football recruiting, you might recognize his name, young man from Newton. They really wanted him a couple years back. He ended up going to TCU instead. But he has announced he's entering the transfer portal. So Darwin Barlow headed to the ever-growing transfer portal.
And one other quick note, Jaden Blue from Klein Cain High School has decided to sit out his last year of high school. He's a Texas Longhorn commit. Said it's been a very difficult decision for my family and I. Football is a brutal sport, and the wear and tear associated with it, the running back position, is undeniable. I plan to take time to focus on my academics while enhancing my off-the-field training, rehab, and regimen.
Don't like it.
This is like someone sitting out a bowl year or opting out, not just because of COVID. I don't like.
You're in high school, bro.
It's his career.
You're in high school,
but I don't like this trend that will start as well.
He's in high school.
Yeah.
This is Paul Catalina's Top 5.
Good stuff, Craig.
555.
All right, so brought to you by Slapstick Comedy. I'll do this real quick, for tickets on our improv show May 29th, right down the road here at Rogue Media Network. Go to slapstickcomedy.com and click on the tickets link. Today, with help from Jack McKenzie, and of course a suggestion from Matt McBrayer, who gave me a great list of stuff that we're going to get into over the coming weeks. Fantastic list. Thank you, Matt, for that. Top 5 sports video games. Jack was very excited about this. Mm-hmm. Number 5, Super Tecmo Bowl.
Oh, this one's awesome.
Yeah, I actually have this, technically, because Nintendo put out, like, you could buy the original system, but the games are already in it.
Yeah.
Like, they're already loaded onto it, so there's like 20 retro games. It's very slow compared to what you play now, but Tecmo Bowl is one of those games. You can find one of those machines. It's worth it.
Ride Bo Jackson all the way to the
Oh, yeah, dude, and I've played it, and it's so funny to play versus today's games, but still a classic.
Yeah, this one, I think, as a kid, maybe like poisoned my announcer mind a little bit because I'm like, he is on fire, you know. But NBA Jam was one of the most fun games ever. My friends and I in my freshman college dorm, we'd run NBA Jam, NFL Blitz quite a bit, which are, NFL Blitz is the NBA Jam version of the NFL. But great game, fantastic game. I loved it when you could put the heads big and they would their head would be on fire. That actual graphic would have gotten Smokey kicked off Twitter one day.
Yeah, actually probably would have.
So, all right, number 3, NBA 2K11. Jack, this is one of your favorites.
Yeah, it's one I grew up with. Before there was Steph Curry, Ray Allen was shooting the lights out, and you couldn't miss with him from 3 in this game. And it was before they started putting in all those pay-to-win type features and stuff that just really got annoying lately.
Yeah, the loot box stuff. Number 2, Madden 2010. I think this was kind of the pinnacle of Madden before that started adding so many features to it. But this was a great sports video game.
I hear nothing but complaints about the current Madden. As far as what I read, the reviews, and like a lot of hardcore players that love Madden. I mean, like Kyler Murray was streaming the other night. He streams on Twitch a lot, and he was playing with Marquise Brown, and they were playing Madden. I think that's pretty much all Kyler plays for the most part, but I hear nothing but complaints about the current version. So, yeah, 2010 was a
I should have got Deontay Epson here to help us with this one. He's a big-time gamer.
Sometimes these video games come out and they're incredibly popular, and it's like something else. You always want to, tweak it, and I understand that. We try to do that every day. But sometimes just things are fine the way they are.
Well, and think about how much money they would save if they just told the testers, listen, we're going to add these 3 minor features, and then we're not going to do much. We're still going to pay you, and then we'll point you into a direction that can help us. And number 1, NCAA Football 13. And I got to tell you, here's the story about this one, of course. This is the one with Robert Griffin on the cover, right? Or is he 14? Yeah, it's 13. This
Robert
was
Griffin and Barry Sanders.
This is the only national story I ever broke in my whole life,
in
my
EA
career.
Sports
the game sucks,
sports thing. Yeah, the game was good. The game was good. This is the last good year they had before they had to get rid of it. But NCAA Football 13, I broke the story that Robert Griffin was going to be on the cover. I had an inside source who told me, and it set off a firestorm.
Oh my God! We almost lost the interview with him.
And
at the draft.
And basically, it was because the press release was sent. It did not say the word embargo. Yep. It said, we're having a press release, but I can't, or a press conference, but I can't tell you what for. If they had said embargo, I wouldn't have released it because I already knew. I was like, well, he's not going to say it. I sure as hell am. And I screwed up their rollout that was going to be on the Dan Patrick show. They had all these car wash of stuff. I screwed it up because somebody didn't put embargo in a press release.
No, they were pissed.
Yeah, they were so pissed. But it turned out good for us in the long run.
Yeah, they were very upset. Okay.
My 2 games I would have on here if it was my personal top 5, RBI Baseball. The original on Nintendo was a lot of fun to play that game. And Ken Griffey Jr.'s Baseball on Super Nintendo. I wore that game out, hours and hours on that game. But there's a lot of good options. And I just want to say before we leave, I really hate this Jaden Blue story, and not because he's a Texas commit. But I'm going to tell you right now, if I have to start covering kids sitting out senior years of high school, I'm done. I'm not covering a bunch of prima donna 17-year-olds. And we already do to an extent, and that's fine. But sitting out your senior year of high school, I just think that's garbage. And unless there's some extreme personal issue, I don't like that at all. Well, I just really don't.
We'll discuss it even more. Wish we had more time to do it now. It does kind of make me go, wait a minute. All right, for Emma, for Jack McKenzie, appreciate it. Thanks to Dale Hansen. Thanks to Kenny Mayne. Thanks to Mickey Spagnola. And thanks to Paul and Craig. I'm David Smoak. Thank you, SicEm365 Radio.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.